Family cultivation. My mobile phone traveled through time. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 426, The Rise of the Lee Family. The palace-dressed woman frowned slightly and said, "Dao, this place is not suitable. Let's change to another place." "Okay." Lu Xuanji nodded. This way. This way." At the invitation of the palace-dressed woman, they went to the private room and sat down. He took out the teacup and poured the tea himself. The palace-dressed woman asked, "Dao, what's your name?" Lu Xuanji said, "Chu, Lu family, Lu Xuanji." The palace-dressed woman said, "Lee family, Lee Ruolan." "Dao, do you have sun god iron here?" Lu Xuanji asked. "Yes." Lee Ruolan smiled and said, "Not long ago, our store happened to purchase a piece of sun god iron, about 30 kilograms. Is the quantity enough?" 30 kilograms, enough. Lu Xuanji smiled and said, "How much do you want?" "Dao, you should know that for us Yuanying cultivators, those low-level spiritual medicines, low-level spiritual pills, low-level spiritual materials, etc., are not much different from stones on the road. If you want to exchange for sun god iron, you need 3000 high-grade spiritual stones, and you can't use low-level spiritual stones instead. Of course, if it is the same elixir, the same spiritual material can also be used." Lee Ruolan said. "According to the exchange rate of 100 to 1, one high-grade spiritual stone is equivalent to 10,000 low-grade spiritual stones. 3,000 high-grade spiritual stones are equivalent to 30 million low-grade spiritual stones. But in fact, it is easy to exchange high-grade spiritual stones for low-grade spiritual stones, but it is difficult or even impossible to exchange low-grade spiritual stones for high-grade spiritual stones." Lu Xuanji nodded and said, "This is a spiritual stone." As he said, he took out a storage bag. "Dao, wait a minute." Lee Ruolan said, "Dao, do you know that there will be an auction in a month? At that time, Dao can buy it at the auction. As for now, it cannot be given to Dao in advance." Lu Xuanji said, "Can't you buy it in advance? You have to wait for the auction." Lee Ruolan smiled and said, "Dao, you are still a little impatient. The world of cultivating immortals is not only about fighting and killing, but also about human relationships. Why does our Lee family hold an auction and an exchange meeting every 10 years? To exchange the items they lack. This is one reason. Another reason is that Jindan Zenran, Yuanying Zenjin, etc., make friends with each other and build corresponding personal connections. We have the major immortal cultivation families and major cultivation countries of the human race. The reason they can survive to this day is because of unity. In a month, fellow Taoists will come to buy the sun god iron again, and you may make some friends." Lu Xuanji smiled and said, "Well, I'm free too, so let's meet again in a month." Lee Ruolan smiled and said, "Fellow Taoists, it seems that you are a hard cultivator. It's good to walk around more." Lu Xuanji nodded. Lee Ruolan smiled and gave out a VIP card. With this VIP card, you can enjoy a 30% discount on the purchase of items in the stores opened by the Lee family. If you don't have enough spirit stones, you can buy on credit, borrow money, etc. During the conversation, it gave people a feeling of being bathed in spring breeze. At the end, Lee Ruolan gave out an auction booklet. On it was a list of items to be auctioned in a month, as well as pictures and so on. After talking for a while, Lu Xuanji left. Lee Ruolan drank tea and said lightly, "I didn't drink the tea. This man is extremely cautious." After a while, a man walked out with a compass-like treasure in his hand. He said, "Sister, this person is not simple. He is actually the legendary Pure Yang Taoist body. Pure Yang Taoist body, the cultivation speed is extremely fast, and the physique is strong. If a woman practices dual cultivation with him, it will have a certain bonus to the female cultivator. It can be said to be a supreme cultivation treasure body. Pure Yang Taoist body, a good physique." Lee Ruolan smiled, her expression grim, licking her lips and said, "If I take action, capture him, and devour his blood, my physique will definitely be able to reach a high level. Sister, The man shouted, "This person is a Yuanying cultivator, and he was born in the state of Chu. He must be involved with those old monsters. If he attacks you, it will attract the attention of some old monsters. By then, your father may not be able to save you. Good and evil cannot coexist. If we kill the demon cultivators and the monster cultivators, and devour their blood and physique, it will not be a big problem. But if you attack your fellow human beings, no one will tolerate you." The man's tone was a little sharp, with a serious warning. The rise of independent cultivators is sinful, bloody, cruel, and dark. The ancestor of the Li family was just a mortal, without spiritual roots, but he accidentally got a volume of magic skills, which could seize the spiritual roots of cultivators, and melt them into the ultimate body. It could devour the physique of cultivators, and improve their own physique, which could be said to be evil and taboo. If the news of the Li family practicing magic skills spreads, they will be almost enemies all over the world. No immortal cultivation family or sect will tolerate them. At that time, the Li family was in danger. The man reminded again, "Once, my Li family had 3 gods, which were very famous and a little arrogant. Back then, the second ancestor attacked a golden elixir cultivator, devoured his blood, and refined his physique, but at that time, it alarmed Dongji Xianzhen. That golden elixir cultivator was a descendant of Dongji Xianzhen. Dongji Xianzhen fought with the second ancestor, and killed the second ancestor in just 100 moves. The other 2 ancestors were terrified and wanted to take revenge, but they had no choice but to give up. This nascent soul cultivator came from the state of Chu, and may be related to a certain god of transformation. If he is killed, there may be big trouble." Thinking back to the war in the past, the man was terrified. After the Li family destroyed the 3 major sects, and occupied the state of Wu, there were 3 gods of transformation sitting in the family. The cultivators of the family all felt proud, and looked down on others. But the death of the second ancestor awakened many people in the Li family. There are many strong people in this world, and there are many cultivators and immortal families stronger than the Li family. Li Rulan frowned and said, "How strong is Dongji Xianzhen? He actually let the 2 ancestors give up revenge?" The man looked into the distance and said solemnly, "Dongji Xianzhen is a great cultivator of the 9th level of God of Transformation. Our 2 ancestors of the Lu family, one is the 3rd level of God of Transformation and the other is the 5th level of God of Transformation. Even if they join forces, they are not opponents. The only thing to be thankful for is that the second ancestor knew that he could not win, so he chose to self-destruct and erase all information. Dongji Xianzhen, I don't know if it was the Li family who did it, otherwise they would have come to destroy the family." Thinking back to the past, the man felt a little fortunate. The Li family was lucky to escape that disaster. Fortunately, Dongji Xianzhen was indifferent to fame and fortune, and was not interested in expanding territory, establishing a cultivation family, etc. Otherwise, how could the Li family monopolize the Wu kingdom? It was also Dongji Xianzhen's dominance that made the Li family feel slapped in the face. After being slapped in the face, they also woke up. The cultivation of the god transformation cannot do whatever it wants. The god transformation cultivators also have different levels. Unfortunately, the 3 god transformations of the Li family are at the bottom, and do not have the capital to be arrogant. Chapter 427, Hit the vice car by mistake. Walking out of the store, Xuanji looked at the VIP card in his hand and smiled. Everyone says that the Li family is arrogant and domineering, but just now, the shopkeeper of the Li family was also polite and considerate. The young man said, "The senior is a Yuanying Zhenjian, so he is naturally polite and considerate, but if it is a Zifu cultivator, it is hard to say." Xuanji nodded, somewhat understanding. The bonus of the Yuanying Zhenjian is quite huge. The Li family monopolized the Wu kingdom, and was a little arrogant and domineering, but it was definitely not brainless or brain dead. It was only arrogant and domineering to the lower level successor cultivators, but the Yuanying Zhenjian still respected the Chindan Zenran and called them Daoist friends. Bullying people by taking advantage of their power only bullies the lower level people. As for encountering Chindan Zenran, the Yuanying Zhenjian would not step forward to bully them. Xuanji asked, "Are there any fun places here?" The young man said, "Speaking of fun places, there is nothing better than Happy Valley. It is the place that men like the most. There are beauties of all kinds of flavors, and each has a different flavor. There are human beauties, demon beauties, East China sea dragon beauties, and some Buddhist bodhisattvas in the West, etc. There are also some female cultivators with special physiques, such as the 9 yin charm body, the green lotus treasure body, the blissful Dao body, etc. As long as you have enough money, you can practice dual cultivation with a Jindan woman. If you have enough money, even dual cultivation with a Yuanying female cultivator is very possible. Lu Xuanji smiled and said, "You guys really know how to have fun. Where else is there?" The young man said, "Wine Fairy. There are all kinds of fine wines there, with different flavors, and there is also the legendary 6th grade spiritual wine. If you take it, you will feel like you are floating in the air, and it can also improve your cultivation." Lu Xuanji said, "Where else is there?" The young man said, "That's the arena. In the arena, there are cultivators fighting each other, and there are cultivators fighting monsters. You can bet on who wins and who loses to get money. Many cultivators are used to going to these areas." Lu Xuanji asked again, and the young man answered, "The capital of Wu State is a bit dull, but there is no shortage of places for fun. There are many entertainment venues where people play very quickly, are very taboo, and very happy. For example, Huangxi Valley is a top-notch romantic place, Jinnazhangsan has top-notch wine, and the arena has special gambling. These are all places of fun." Just listening, Lu Xuanji refused. "These are places that harm people, and it's better not to go to gamble with yellow wine." After saying goodbye to the young man, he went to an inn and lived there. Under the call, Jinzi walked out of the cave bead and talked about some things about the Li family, talking about the auction in a month. Later, in the state of meditation, he began to practice. A month later, Lu Xuanji woke up from the state of meditation, walk out of the cave, and go to Dongsheng Tower. When he arrived here, he found that it was extremely lively. Key refining cultivators, foundation building cultivators, purple mansion cultivators, golden core cultivators, nascent soul cultivators, etc. all gathered here, and there were huge crowds of people. Different auctions were held according to different levels of cultivation. Dozens of auction venues were held at the same time. According to their own financial resources and cultivation, they entered different auction venues and started the auction activities. After determining the venue here, Lu Xuanji entered the number 8 auction venue. Most of those who entered here were Golden Core and Nascent Soul. As soon as he entered here, Lu Xuanji met an acquaintance, who was Li Ruolan. "Dao I are here. How can I not come to such a grand event?" Li Ruolan smiled and said, "Dao I, there are some Daoists from Chu over there. Senior, please go over there and say hello." Lu Xuanji looked into the distance, but frowned slightly and said, "No need, we are not familiar with each other." Li Ruolan smiled and said, "Dao I, sit down here." After entertaining the guests, Li Ruolan went to entertain other guests. After a while, many cultivators gathered in the hall. The weakest one was at the Golden Core stage, and there were some Yuanying's engine, about 100 people. At this time, Li Ruolan walked onto the stage and said, "The auction starts now. The first item is the Golden Core." Just like that, the auction began to auction items, one after another, very lively, one after another. Cultivators opened their mouths and bought the corresponding items. There would be a premium, but it was not too outrageous. Soon, it was the turn of the sun god An. In the red plate, a piece of god iron was placed, emitting white light, bright and dazzling. The starting price was 2,500 high-grade spirit stones. Some cultivators shouted, 2,800, 3,000, 3,200, 3,500. When Lu Xuanji called out this price, everyone immediately quieted down, and no one bid. Soon, the sun god iron was put down. Lu Xuanji held it in his hand, and measured the weight, to be about 35 kilograms, which was a reasonable price. Then, some treasures were auctioned one after another, including 5th grade spiritual treasures, infant forming pills, 5th grade fortune making Ganoderma lucidum, 5th grade blood king pills, and so on. One treasure after another. The higher the price of the treasures, the higher the price. Lu Xuanji was jealous, but after thinking for a moment, he gave up. Because there was no money in his pocket. He hated the lack of money. The items here are indeed rich, but the prices are also much more expensive. For example, if the 5th grade spiritual treasure is only 10,000 high grade spiritual stones in Chu, it can be sold for 13,000 spiritual stones here. The price of infant forming pills in Chu is 30,000 high grade spiritual stones. But it can be sold for 40,000 high grade spiritual stones here. On the high platform, in a hidden corner, Xuanji's engine examined everything and saw through the many cultivators in the venue. Analyzing the cultivators present, it seems that he wants to find out who the murderer is. Eliminate one by one, screen one by one, analyze one by one, and confirm one by one. Finally, 3 targets were determined. There are about 36 cultivators from the Chu Kingdom present. Among them, there are 9 cultivators with fire attributes. Among these 9 people, the only ones who want to kill my son and make the gold medal invalid are the late Jinden and Yuan Ying strongman. So it seems that only 3 cultivators are suspects. First, the female cultivator King Guyan from the Chu Kingdom. This woman is in the late Jinden stage, has a strong cultivation base, and has 2 spiritual roots of fire and wood. Maybe my son was tempted by her beauty, but was killed instead. Second, Xiangxin Zhenjin from the Chu Kingdom. This person is a 3rd level Yuan Ying cultivator, has a fire spiritual root, is low-key and introverted, and may also kill my son. Third, Xuanji Zhenjin from the Chu Kingdom. This person is only a 2nd level Yuan Ying, but he is the descendant of Danliang Xianzhen. My son has no treasures on him, so it is not worth it for him to do it. Zhenjin Yangai thought about it and analyzed who the enemy who killed his son was. First, Xuanji Zhenjin was ruled out because there was no motive to kill. Some treasures on his son were not worth doing. Xianzhen Zhenjin bought a 5th grade fire Ganoderma at the auction and needed to refine a fire spirit pill. My son happened to have a 5th grade flaming grass, which is also one of the auxiliary ingredients of the fire spirit pill. Yang Yi Zhenjin thought, he is the murderer of my son, he should be killed. Chapter 428, Purgatory Volcano. However, it is possible that True Man King Guyan should be killed as well, said True Lord Yangai, with a flash of murderous intent in his eyes. In his guess, True Lord Xiangxin was the most suspicious, followed by True Man King Guyan, and these 2 should be killed. However, we should test them at the bartering convention later. Soon the auction ended. Li Ruland said, the auction is over. Next, it is the bartering convention. If you are missing anything, you can stay and exchange it. Some cultivators were tempted to stay and planned to participate in the auction. Lu Xuanji just took a few glances and disappeared. The main reason was that he had no money. In the world of cultivating immortals, you can buy many common items in orthodox shops. At some auctions, you can buy some rare and precious things. But at the bartering convention, you can buy some rare things that cannot be bought with spirit stones. Because some things are expensive, they can no longer be bought with money and can only be exchanged with barter, which requires corresponding things to exchange. He was tempted in his heart, but after thinking about it, he left directly. In the blink of an eye, Lu Xuanji returned to the cave. He took out the Sun God Iron and handed it over. Is this the Sun God Iron? The Liang Yi sword can finally be forged, Jinzi said happily, after taking the materials. In Yu State, there is a place called Purgatory Volcano, where there is endless fire and magic weapons can be forged. Lu Xuanji said, you can go there to forge magic weapons, and at the same time, you can temper your pure Yang Dao body. Not only my life magic weapon, I also want to temper my immortal sword body. Jinzi pondered. After determining the target, the 2 got up and left, heading south to Wu State. Following the mark on the map, they moved forward, and soon a huge volcano appeared. Just getting slightly closer, they could feel the heat. Is this the Purgatory Volcano? Lu Xuanji looked at the vast and boundless fire area in front of him, and a look of horror flashed in his eyes. What kind of fire wasteland is this? The endless sea of fire stretches for millions of miles, and there is magma and fire everywhere. There is no vitality here, only endless fire, like a purgatory. In a trance, Lu Xuanji thought of the origin of the Purgatory Volcano. Legend has it that a long time ago, there was a flame demon god sitting here, intimidating the ages. As a result, a peerless Taoist master of the human race came here and fought a great battle with him, tearing the void, annihilating the ages, and finally killed the demon god. But the blood of the demon god flowed here and turned into an endless sea of purgatory fire. From then on, this place became a GD, and there was no life here. At the same time, because of the endless flames here, it also turned into a place for refining treasures and a place for cultivation. Thinking about it, Xuanji and Xuanji went to the depths of the purgatory volcano. The two kept moving forward. After moving forward 1,000 miles, Xuanji stopped and said, "I'll stay here. This is the most suitable place. It's not suitable to be too close inside. Xuanji has 2 spiritual roots of gold and earth, and it is most suitable here." As he said, he took out the black and white swords, and took out some materials, and began to forge. "I have to keep moving forward," Xuanji said, and continued to move forward inside. The outermost part was just red flames. Such flames had the lowest temperature, and purple mansion cultivators could bear it. This was also the most suitable area for refining magic weapons. After all, if the temperature was too high, it would damage the magic weapons. A slightly higher temperature, but not too outrageous, was the most suitable. Gradually, the flames turned white, and the white flames had a scorching color. The giant and cultivators who entered it were also sweating profusely. But Xuanji felt a little happy. The pure Yang Dao body was happy, and the pure Yang true fire was happy. When he reached a certain position, Xuanji stopped and operated the pure Yang Sutra. Suddenly, white flames entered his body, forging his body. His body was undergoing baptism, just like forging a magic weapon. Not only was his physical strength increasing, but he was also immune to some magic power. At the same time, pure Yang runes appeared on the flesh and blood, and began to emerge in the flesh and blood, and began to appear faintly in the bones. In the pure Yang Sutra, some kind of supreme magical power began to be slowly cultivated. Gradually, a pure white halo appeared outside the body, surrounding the body, like a Buddha. Pure Yang Immortal Ring, one of the supreme magical powers derived from the pure Yang Dao body. The pure Yang Dao body has the characteristics of fast cultivation speed, which is beneficial to female practitioners. As for physical strength, defense, and attack power, it has various deficiencies. Therefore, the strong men of the pure Yang lineage began to absorb the characteristics of other physiques, and created the 3 supreme magical powers, pure Yang Immortal Ring, pure Yang Extinction Divine Light, and pure Yang 6 Seals, based on the pure Yang Dao body. Buzz buzz buzz. As the skills were running, pure Yang runes appeared one after another. The pure Yang runes were constantly combined together to form pure Yang chains. The pure Yang chains were constantly gathered together and continuously compiled into pure Yang Immortal Rings. After a month, the first pure Yang Immortal Ring was condensed. Then, the second one was condensed. After a year, the second halo was condensed. Then, it was easier to condense the third and fourth halos at the beginning, but the more difficult it was to condense, the more time it took, and the more complicated it became. 30 years later, Xuanji activated his magical power, and suddenly there was a sound of metal colliding in his body, and a halo rose one after another. A total of 5 halos rose up, and surrounded the back of his body, like the Supreme Buddha. Swish! He activated the magic weapon to attack. Suddenly, the pure Yang Immortal Halo on his body automatically rose up, and turned into a solid defense, resisting layer by layer, and weakening the attack of external forces. One halo after another broke, and when the 5th halo broke, the power of the magic weapon was also consumed by half. What a strong defense! Activating the pure Yang Immortal Halo, the defense can resist the attack of the 4th level of the nascent soul. Feeling this supreme magical power, Xuanji was overjoyed. But in the joy, he also felt a little discord. Because of the short time, these 5 halos are simply put together, not tempered, and there are still some deficiencies in defense, and there is still room for improvement. If the halos are further tempered, and their runes are reinforced and improved, the defense of the 5 halos will be further improved, and it will rise to a higher level. Take out some materials, continue to refine the equipment, and increase the power of the 24 treasures. But at this moment, the sound of fierce fighting was heard from outside, and the fighting continued. There were cultivators shouting and cursing. My father is Fiayu's engine. You dare to kill me? A female cultivator shouted. Why not? A cold voice came, evolving into a killing move to attack. Chapter 429. Ambush on the road. My father is Fiayu's engine. Xuanji frowned slightly, immediately put away the magic weapon, put away the materials, and looked at the place of the battle. I saw a Yuan Ying's engine chasing a female cultivator. The female cultivator was only in the late Jiandan period. How could she be the opponent of Yuan Ying's engine? She just relied on the cloud magic weapon under her feet to escape, but she was about to be chased and killed, and she was about to face a desperate situation. The daughter of Fiayu's engine. It seems that this person should be saved. Xuanji thought. Thinking of the experience of getting along with Fiayu's engine not long ago, the Zenjin gave him a gold medal before leaving. This Zenjin is a good person, and his daughter should be saved. But, at this moment, Xuanji activated the supreme magical power, and the long sword in his hand was condensing. The yin and yang qi were running. The power of the five element was born and destroyed. The power of the yuan magnetic field fluctuated. The power of the stars gathered. The power of time and space fluctuated. The power of destruction condensed, and many powers condensed together to form a 9-color magic sword. At the same time, the mana in his body was consumed violently, like a flood that broke through the dam. In just a moment, more than 6 layers of mana in his body were consumed and evolved into this supreme divine sword. But, at this moment, the destructive energy in the void locked onto the black closed band behind him. Am I going to die here? The female cultivator was fleeing, with a flash of panic in her eyes. This time, she came to Chu State to buy the Kinglin creation pill. Several Taoist friends from Chu State came with her to prevent unexpected events. But after the auction, many cultivators were sniped by a strong man on the way to the Xuan Mountains. The cultivator hid his identity, but he activated a supreme magical power, turning into eternal darkness to block everything. In the darkness, the killing continued. 3 Jiandan were killed, and the body of a Yuan Ying was broken, and only the Yuan Ying escaped. When another Yuan Ying's engine escaped, he was a beat slower and the Yuan Ying was captured. She activated the secret treasure left by her father, tearing through the endless darkness and escaping. But the cultivator kept chasing him, getting closer and closer. At this moment, a terrifying sword intent locked onto everything, as if it was a punishment from heaven. Plop. The body softened, and the mana on the female cultivator dissipated. True Lord Yangai chased and killed the female cultivator. He attacked halfway, urging the divine will, endless night, to annihilate everything, and kill many masters, but at this moment, the female cultivator activated the secret treasure to tear apart, endless night, and escaped, and a Yuan Ying cultivator took the opportunity to escape. The battle that was supposed to be a complete annihilation became a half-cooked meal. He kept chasing and killing, and arrived at the purgatory volcano. At this moment, a terrifying sword intent locked onto him. Who? True Lord Yangai shouted sternly. He gathered his ki, and started to move, looking at the enemy in the distance. 10 miles away, there stood a cultivator, with a chaotic light covering everything, as if he was derived from nothingness, and his true face could not be seen. But in his hand, he held a 9-colored divine sword, which exuded a terrifying killing intent. The killing intent locked onto him. It was like a heavenly calamity, giving people the feeling that they could not escape. Take the sword, the cultivator said, waving his hand and slashing out with a sword. This sword was condensed to the extreme, turning into a sword light that slashed and killed. The speed was extremely fast, and the sword light was slashing and killing almost at the moment of feeling. The distance of 10 miles seemed very far, but for a Yuan Ying cultivator, it was very short, almost in an instant. Night Shield. The heart of the eternal night true lord was beating. His mind was warning him, and his intuition was telling him that danger was about to come, and destruction was about to come. Almost in an instant, the shield in the Danshan appeared. The shield was black, and in the center of the shield there was a blood-colored rose, which evolved into 1 meter high and half a meter wide, blocking the front. However, the sword light flashed, and the shield was scratched and shattered on the spot, and the sword light continued to slash and kill. Endless night key. The eternal night master opened his mouth and spit out black mist. The mist was condensing and evolving, like ink condensing into a mixed shield of Genki, blocking the front. The knife light flashed again, like cutting through paper, breaking in an instant. But, at this moment, the eternal knight armor on his body burst out, and the black light flashed out, blocking the front, but the armor was torn apart in an instant. But, the knife light was flashing, and it instantly split his body. The body turned into blood mist in an instant. But, the endless night enveloped the area of 100 miles, and the area within 100 miles turned into endless darkness, dark and pitch black, and you couldn't see your hand in front of you. Not only was the vision declining, but the spiritual perception was also declining. The endless night lasted for 2 breaths and then dissipated. But on the ground, there was only a trail of blood, and the Xuanji of the Eternal Night Master escaped. Swish. The next moment, Xuanji's footsteps flashed, and he appeared 10 miles away, looking at the blood on the ground. He frowned slightly and said, "What a pity, he still escaped." At this moment, his body shook slightly, and he felt weak and his mana was exhausted. He was no longer able to strike a second blow. The Great 5-element Yin Yang Yuan Magnetic Starlight Universe Extinction Divine Sword was extremely powerful. With one blow, no ghosts or gods were left. Even the cultivator at the 6th level of the nascent soul was seriously injured by his blow, and his body collapsed. But he also had a huge loss of mana, and was unable to strike a second blow. Facing some top level masters, he was now one wave flow. He sent the enemy away with one blow. Or, when he couldn't kill the enemy with one blow, he could only use the golden light of escaping the ground to escape. "Thank you, Senior." At this moment, the female cultivator stepped forward and said, "Thank you, Senior, for saving my life. Are you the daughter of Fiao's engine?" Xuanji said, "I have some friendship with your father. What's your name, Senior?" The female cultivator asked respectfully, but still with a vigilant look. "I'm Master Xuanji. When I achieved nascent soul, your father came to congratulate me, and gave me a gold medal," Xuanji said, taking out a gold medal. When he activated the gold medal, golden light flashed, and a trace of destruction was emitted. "Senior, is it Master Xuanji?" The female cultivator was stunned. According to legend, Master Xuanji entered nascent soul less than 200 years ago, but why is he so fierce that he defeated the old nascent soul cultivator with one sword? "Senior, I'm the 4th daughter of my father. My name is Lu Kingayan, and my Taoist name is Kingayan Zenran." The female cultivator said, "This time, the 5 of us cultivators traveled together, 2 nascent soul masters and 3 giant cultivators, and traveled to Wu together, but we never thought that we would encounter disaster here." Thinking about being ambushed on the road and the tragic things she experienced, she couldn't help but choke up. Xuanji asked, and the female cultivator answered. Swish. At this moment, a fist-sized baby appeared 100,000 miles away. The face was clear, but the expression was ferocious and crazy. Chapter 430 Ancient Relics. In the void, the fist-sized nascent soul flashed quickly, at an extremely fast speed. In just a breath, it was thousands of miles away, faster than the perception of ordinary cultivators, and extremely fast. After a cultivator reaches a nascent soul, the nascent soul is the foundation. After losing the restraint of the physical body, the nascent soul will escape at an astonishing speed. As long as the nascent soul escapes, it is difficult to be captured. With the help of some secret techniques and spiritual medicines, the physical body can be reshaped, based on the nascent soul, and restored to its peak moment. But at this moment, the face of the Eternal Night Master was ferocious. Damn, that cultivator must be a top-level powerhouse of the 9th level of the nascent soul, but I didn't expect to encounter an iron wall. The Eternal Night Master was angry, and fear flashed in his eyes. Thinking back to that knife, it still gave people a sense of horror. Under that knife, it cut through many magic weapon defenses and directly shattered his physical body, and everything turned into nothingness. Thinking of that terrifying knife, the fear in the heart of the Eternal Night Master was increasing. Turned into a stream of light and escaped. Returning to the old nest, it was safe then. When a nascent soul cultivator's physical body is killed, and only the nascent soul is left, the cultivator's combat effectiveness will fall to the bottom. The only way to be safe is to return to the old nest. My condolences. Xuanji comforted. Hearing the narration of Master Kingayan, who was talking about the ambush. He could only comfort her in this way. Master King Gan stepped forward, opened the storage bag, and took out a jar from it. When the jar was opened, a nascent soul flew out immediately. The breath of the nascent soul was weak, but at the moment of flying out, it immediately became energetic. Niece. Uncle. It was this senior, true Lord Xuanji, who saved us. True Lord King Gan said, True Lord, this is my uncle, True Lord Yuang. This time we traveled to the state of Wu. True Lord Xiangxin and True Lord Yuang were the leaders, taking me, True Lord Xiaoyang, True Lord Xianyu, True Lord Helang and others. We thought that we were outnumbered and ordinary cultivators would not dare to provoke us. Even if we were intercepted by cultivators, we could escape with some secret treasures, but we never thought we would meet a veteran True Lord. This person urged the magic to evolve into an endless night that blocked our vision. We failed to escape, and 3 fellow Taoists were killed. Only True Lord Xiangxin escaped, True Lord Yuang was captured, and I was almost killed. As he spoke, he sighed in his heart about the battle that had just happened. Thank you for saving my life. Yuang Zhenjin said, if you hadn't saved me, I would have died, and my 1,000 years of hard work would have gone to waste. Fellow Daoist, do you know who the murderer is? Lu Xuanji asked. There are about 200 Yuanian cultivators in Wu State, and the only one who is good at the Eternal Night magic is the Eternal Night Zhenjin. Yuang Zhenjin said, when this evil thief attacked, he hid his identity. But after fighting for dozens of moves, he still exposed his identity. There are various secret techniques in the world of immortal cultivation that can hide one's appearance and cover up one's aura. There are many such methods. But once they fight, they will inevitably use some signature magic weapons, some unique secret techniques, etc., which will inevitably expose their identities. Yuang Zhenjin said, this person is a 6th level Yuanian cultivator, who has comprehended the divine will, endless night, and has a chance to enter the god of transformation in the future. He is the apprentice of the god of transformation Xianzhen of the Li family. Speaking of the information of the Eternal Night Xianzhen, Yuang Zhenjin flashed a trace of murderous intent. Lu Xuanji said, Dao, do you still want to recover your body? Yuang Zhenjin said, do you need your help? No problem, I also want to refine magic weapons here, and upgrade the grade of magic weapons. Lu Xuanji said with a smile. Just like that, there were 2 more cultivators in the purgatory volcano. Yuang Zhenjin only had the nascent soul left, which was very weak. But for Yuang Zhenjin, it was nothing. When a cultivator reaches a nascent soul stage, the nascent soul is the foundation. As long as the nascent soul is still there, the body can be reforged with the help of the nascent soul as the foundation. Yuang Zhenjin activated the secret technique, and drew a drop of nascent soul blood from the nascent soul. With this drop of blood as the foundation, the body was reshaped. The body that had just been shaped was very weak, and it was only the first level of key training. Then, Yuang Zhenjin began to take various spiritual medicines and elixirs to nourish the body. The body was growing stronger and the cultivation was constantly improving. In just 1 month, the body was restored to the nascent soul state. At this time, the forged body is still relatively weak, and it will take decades or even hundreds of years to recover to its peak. Whoosh! In the raging fire, Lu Xuanji took out 24 magic weapons and began to forge them. The raging fire was burning, and some materials were added to it, blended into the fairy gold, and perfectly integrated with each other. He also carved many runes, and upgraded the formation inside. The grade of the magic weapon was slowly improving, gradually moving towards the 5th grade. Looking at the magic weapon that was transforming, Lu Xuanji secretly felt lucky. Because fairy gold is the top material, only a small amount of materials needs to be added to upgrade the magic weapon. If it weren't for the fairy gold as a base, the materials needed to upgrade the magic weapon would be enough to stump him. Time is passing. In the blink of an eye, 20 years have passed. On this day, the 24 magic weapons resonated violently. The calamity clouds in the sky are gathering, crackling. The calamity is coming down. People have human calamities, and treasures have treasure calamities. When the calamity comes, the wind, fire, and thunder gather together, and disappear one after another. After a long time, the calamity dissipated. But The next moment, 24 magic weapons were ringing and entered the dungeon. These 24 magic weapons are all of the 5th grade. Feeling the spirituality of the magic weapons, the grade of these magic weapons is improving, and the spirituality is increasing. In terms of spirituality, it is comparable to a 5-year-old child. With the advancement of the magic weapons, the spirituality inside is also improving, and the spirit of the weapon will gradually be born. The spirit of the weapon will also move from the illusion to the reality, and become a real creature, no doubt like a cultivator. The spirit of the Yuhua Tower, the spirit of the Chunayang sword, etc., are all spirits of top-level magic weapons. After putting away the magic weapons, Xuanji heard footsteps. True Man King Guyan approached and said, "Senior, do you know why we came to Wu this time? Didn't you say that you want to buy some cultivation resources?" Xuanji smiled. "This is just one of the reasons. Another reason is that I have a treasure map in my hand, which records an ancient relic." True Man King Guyan said, "This time I came to Wu State to find this relic. The location of the relic is in the Purgatory volcano." Xuanji smiled and said, "When certain forces are destroyed by powerful enemies, the enemies will inevitably plunder everything. There will be no treasures left, so how could there be ancient relics? It can't be a trap set up by the evil cultivators. In fact, many relics are problematic and are used by the evil cultivators to fish." Chapter 431, Mysterious Eye, Mytherworld Contract. When it comes to ancient ruins, Xuanji has the most say, because he made his fortune from ancient ruins. Entering the ruins of Yuhuaman, he obtained the pure Yangdao body and soared into the sky, but the price was that he was almost possessed. Entering the ruins of Jiandao, he harvested the void treasure box, the so-called ancient caves, immortal ruins, etc. Many times encountered powerful enemies and wiped out the family. Most of the treasures were taken away by the enemy, looted, and a few rags were not picked up, leaving them to future generations. Only a few secret libraries still exist in some hidden corners, waiting for the destined people. There are also some monks who are cunning and have buried some treasure houses, intending to prevent accidents or leave them to future generations. Of course, more often some demons set traps and snares, deliberately spread some maps, guide some monks into them, and then hunt the monks. True Man King Guyan said, "Once, in order to practice some secret arts, I went to the depths of Purgatory volcano and found the corpse of a senior in the 5-colored volcano. This senior had a high level of cultivation, but he was also seriously injured and passed away here. Before he died, this senior arranged a formation around his body to protect the corpse. After thousands of years, the body of this senior is still intact, as if alive. His clothes are intact, his appearance is still the same, and there is a storage bag there. This time, we are going together. True Lord Xiangxin is a 5th grade formation master who can break the formation. But now, True Lord Xiangxin is missing, so we can only rely on the senior." As he said this, he told some information about the ruins. This relic was accidentally discovered by True Lord Yuang. One person's strength was not enough to break the formation, so he could only invite True Lord Xiangxin and others to help. Who would have thought that such a change would happen? King Guyan Zenran finally said, "As for the traps set up by the demon cultivators, the possibility is not great. It's worth a try." "Okay, I'll go too." Xuanji nodded and said, "How do you divide the treasures?" "Distribute according to merit. Each person will have a share of the skills and supernatural powers. As for the elixirs, magic weapons, etc., Yuang's engine will take them first, and Aoist friends will take them later, and I will take them last. If it is not enough, I will use spiritual stones to compensate." King Guyan Zenran said, "Okay, then we will go." Xuanji said. King Guyan Zenran was happy and called Yuang's engine, who nodded. In terms of realm, Yuang's engine's status is above King Guyan Zenran, but in action, King Guyan Zenran is in a leadership position. It's good to have a good father. Everyone packed up and headed towards a certain location of the Purgatory volcano. Before leaving, Xuanji activated the secret technique and notified Jinzi to follow behind to prevent accidents. If there is an accident in the ruins, Jinzi can coordinate from the outside and rescue in time. There are terrifying flames in the Purgatory volcano, and most creatures find it difficult to survive. However, in such an extreme environment, a few fire creatures are still born, such as fire crows, fire monsters, etc., with different cultivation levels. The weak ones are only at the key training level, while the strong ones have reached the nascent soul stage. Everyone moved forward cautiously. After walking 1,000 miles, the temperature was rising. The scorching flames were too much for even the giant and cultivators, so they had to use their magic power to offset the power of the flames. Continuing forward, after walking tens of thousands of miles, a huge volcano appeared in front. There were 5 kinds of flames burning at the volcano, and the flames were rolling and sweeping to a radius of 100 miles. Be careful, we are approaching our destination. King Iron Zenran said, the 5-color volcano is in front of us. There are pure Yang true fire, pure Yin true fire, Nanmingli fire, Sun true fire, Lei Gang fiery fire, etc. The formation is based on the 5-color volcano. Everyone should be careful. Everyone immediately became alert and approached carefully. After walking 1,000 miles, a large formation appeared in front of them, covering a 1,000-mile area. On the periphery of the formation, a group of fire crows were attacking the formation. Among the group of fire crows, there was a Yuanying, and 8 Jinden were activating spells to constantly consume the power of the formation. The formation was unmoved, and the attack of these flames could not shake the formation. The formation in front of him was very powerful, but there was no strong person to preside over it. As it continued to attack and consume, its power was constantly decreasing. Especially under the attack of a watermill, the formation could only last for 10 years at most, before it was completely broken. Kill. At this moment, Xuanji took a step forward, and attacked the Yuanying Firecrow. True Man King Iron also activated a flying sword, and stabbed a giant and Firecrow. As for True Lord Yuanying, he took a step back, and began to guard against the escape of those flames, cutting the grass and roots, to prevent the news from leaking out. Boom boom boom. The battle broke out. Xuanji activated the long sword, and the long sword turned into flames, tearing everything apart. The Yuanying Firecrow also fought back, but he was born in a wild way, with limited fighting skills and insufficient magical powers. After a short confrontation, they were unable to hold on. After fighting for 10 moves, they killed the Yuanying Firecrow with one sword. The Yuanying flew out and fled, but was captured on the spot. At the same time, King Iron Zenran was also killing the giant and Firecrow with overwhelming force. He fought 8 with ease and fiercely. Just a moment later, 3 Firecrows were killed, and 5 fled, but were intercepted and killed by Yuanying Zenran. After cleaning up the battlefield, everyone looked at the formation. Swish. Xuanji drew out his long sword, and the long sword chopped out, but it seemed to be cut in the water waves, buzzing, and most of the power was melted away. Yuanying Zenran also attacked, but the formation was running and dying, and it was motionless. King Iron Zenran did not make a move, but activated his divine eyes, and suddenly his eyes flashed with golden light, insight into the nodes of the formation, and the operation of the secret. This is a Xuanming Eye, the top divine eye in the legend. Xuanji was slightly surprised. The daughter of Fiyu Zenran also has unique features, not just relying on her father. Xuanming Eye can see through the 9 netherworld, the void, the circulation of the cultivator's ki and blood, the essence and flaws of their skills. It can also see through the nodes of the formation and crack some key positions. Whether it is attacking the enemy, or cracking the formation, Xuanming Eye is unique. After observing for a while, King Iron Zenran said, this formation is based on the 5-color flame, which is endless. If we rely on a strong attack, it will take 8 years to break it. But if we delay, changes will occur, and we need to fight quickly, which requires Xuanji Zenran to take action. Xuanji Zenran, you can activate the 9-color sword technique, attack at a certain node in an instant, and break the formation. Okay. Xuanji nodded and said, but before breaking the formation, we need to sign an netherworld contract, and we must not attack each other for the treasures inside. We must distribute them fairly and reasonably, and we must not bully others. Of course. King Iron Zenran nodded. Immediately, the 3 of them began to swear an oath to the heavens, and signed a ghostly contract. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 432, Inheritance of the God. In history, some monks were close friends, but during the adventure, they often turned against each other for some interests, or even fought a life and death battle. In order to reasonably distribute the benefits and avoid fighting, signing the netherworld contract can make the monks relatively harmonious with each other. Especially in the world of immortal cultivation, there are laws of heaven and earth, and the great way in the dark. Monks will not swear randomly, because after swearing, if they do not fulfill their oaths, they may become doomed in the future. After signing the netherworld contract, everyone looked at each other, and breathed a sigh of relief. Now, they are relieved. Swish. At this moment, King Iron Zenran activated the Xuanming Eye, stimulated the divine eye to the extreme, and saw through the nodes and flaws of the formation. Xuanji took a deep breath, and began to gather strength. The 9-color divine sword in his hand appeared, and the power was constantly rising. The power of this sword was also raised to the level of the 9th level of the nascent soul. Yueyang's engine next to him looked at this scene, but his heart beat slightly. What a freak. Xuanji's engine, a little scary. Just the 2nd level of the nascent soul, it can burst out a blow of the 9th level of the nascent soul, although it takes 10 breaths to build up momentum to burst out this peerless blow. In ordinary battles, the enemy will not give him 10 breaths of time to prepare, but even so, it is extraordinary. It's right there. At this moment, King Iron Zenran opened his mouth and said a certain node of the formation. Xuanji slashed out with a knife, and the terrifying destructive force slashed at that node, which immediately exceeded the limit of the formation, and immediately a node of the formation was damaged. Like a domino, the damage of only one node made the formation appear to be crushed and rotten, and it collapsed and disintegrated quickly. The formation broke apart. Everyone was delighted and walked forward, still looking around cautiously. Walking to the cave in front, there was a monk sitting in the cave. The monk had a somewhat old face, with blood on the corners of his mouth. He closed his eyes, and exuded a terrifying aura, but he gave people a feeling of being strong on the outside, but weak on the inside. Time is like running water, terrifying and ruthless. Even though this cultivator was extremely powerful in the past, most of his strength has now disappeared, leaving only an empty shell. With just a slight collision, he may turn into ashes and dissipate. This is a seriously injured god who fled here. He activated his secret technique and used elixirs to recover from his injuries, but he was powerless and died on the spot, said King Iron Zenran, with a flash of horror in her eyes. Once, she had seen a powerful god from a distance, and his aura was similar to that of this corpse. Originally, she thought that this was the corpse of a late nascent soul cultivator, but who would have thought that this was the corpse of a god? This means that there are many treasures in the storage bag and a great harvest. But it also means that the cause and effect are also great. God of transformation, Xuanji said in horror. Until now, he has only heard the legend of the god, but has never seen the real person. But here, it is the first time he has seen a powerful god. Although, he is already a corpse. Mobile phone. Collect relevant information. At this moment, Xuanji urged his divine sense to observe the corpse of the god of transformation and collect relevant information. The god of transformation was extremely powerful, so how could he allow his divine sense to observe and collect information? But now, it was just a corpse of the god of transformation, but he was allowed to observe it. By observing this corpse, he could gain insight into some of the mysteries of the god of transformation, which would be more conducive to breaking through to the next realm. The understanding of the god of transformation was no longer based on the records in books, no longer based on one's own guesses, but with real verification and data templates. But, at this moment, a divine sense flashed on the corpse of the god of transformation, turning into an image, and a voice said, "Dear Taoist friends, I don't know who you are. I don't know where you come from. If you want to get my treasure, you must swear a cause and effect oath, and must avenge me. If you swear to avenge me, you can get the treasure in the storage bag. If you don't want to swear, you can leave on your own." If you don't want to swear, but want to snatch the storage bag will enter self-destruction. At this moment, the phantom disappeared. There is a storage bag at the waist of the corpse. Everyone looked at each other, and a hint of hesitation flashed across their faces. True Man Kingan said, "I will not quit. If you want to obtain other people's treasures, you must bear the cause and effect. This is normal." Xuanji said, "The treasure is right in front of you. How can you give it up?" "I won't give up either." True Lord Yuang said. After just a moment of hesitation, everyone made up their minds to bear the cause and effect. If you give up such a great opportunity because of fear, you will regret it in the future. The three of them spoke and swore again. This time, it was a cause and effect oath. As the oath was sworn, the corpse in front of them automatically disintegrated and turned into ashes, which scattered in all directions. At the same time, the energy placed on the corpse also dissipated. Before sitting in meditation, this strong man left a terrifying power on the corpse, comparable to a blow from the incarnation. If a cultivator wanted to snatch the storage bag, it would stimulate this power to kill the enemy. Sensing the dissipated power, True Man Kingan secretly said that he was lucky. Fortunately, they followed the rules, otherwise they would have died under the fatal blow. Senior. Everyone bowed respectfully to the corpse, and then Kingan Zenran walked to the man and took the storage bag from him. At this time, it was not the time to distribute the treasures. Xuanji took away the remaining array tools nearby and said, "Let's leave first and divide the treasures after we go out." Of course. A few days later, everyone flew out of the purgatory volcano. They landed on a barren mountain and spent some days to break open the storage bag. After opening the storage bag, everyone was stunned when they saw the treasures inside. As a Yuanying cultivator, Xuanji had seen the world, and Kingan Zenran was even a descendant of the Shenhua, but when he saw the treasures stuck inside, he was shocked. There were more than 5,000 top-grade spirit stones in it. There were 18 volumes of skills, magical powers, etc. There were also 7 or 8 5th-grade magic weapons. As for other treasures, there were many scattered, all of which were very valuable, and had no market. Soon, they found a letter in the ancient books, and understood the origin of this person. "My name is Shan King Taoist, a powerful person at the 5th level of the spiritualization realm. Unfortunately, I was besieged by powerful enemies, my sect was destroyed, and I became a stray dog and fled. After escaping here, I was seriously injured, and took elixirs to heal my wounds, but unfortunately, I was powerless. After 10 years of perseverance, I couldn't hold on any longer and soon passed away. On the eve of my death, I arranged a formation, and left behind a legacy. If you inherit my sunken ship, you must avenge me, kill the powerful enemies, and take revenge. My enemy is." Chapter 433 Return to Chu. In the letter, many news about Taoist Shan King were described. Taoist Shan King was born in the Nanling area, and his sect was called Yuding Dongshan. Yuding Dongshan was once a Taoist sect opened up by the great Liangzi master, but it declined a lot in their generation, with only 3 powerful masters of Huashan sitting in charge. It was attacked by Jingsha Dongshan, and Yuding Dongshan was destroyed. Taoist Shan King was seriously injured and fled, and went to the vicinity of Purgatory Volcano, hoping to use the power of the fire here to heal his wounds. Unfortunately, he was attacked by another Huashan here, and he was powerless to save the situation. After 10 years of persistence, his blood and ki were exhausted, and he sat on the spot. Before he sat and passed away, he set up a formation, and left behind the inheritance of his sect. At the beginning, I was seriously injured and used elixirs to heal my wounds. I recovered a part of my injuries. Unfortunately, I was attacked by Taoist Xiang, and my injuries worsened. I could no longer maintain my health and finally died. If you want to inherit my legacy, you need to meet 2 conditions. The first condition is to kill Taoist Xiang within 2000 years. The second condition is to reopen the Yuding lineage, and continue the Taoist tradition of the Yuding lineage. Everyone looked at the contents of the letter, looking at each other, with hesitation in their eyes. Xuanji asked, "Do you know who Taoist Xiang is?" True Man Kingan shook his head, showing that he didn't know. Yuang Zhenjin said, when I first met Master told me about some top masters in the East Wilderness, among whom was Xiang Xianzhen. This Xiang Xianzhen has no sect or school, and is a famous independent cultivator in Qi State. He founded Xiang City. Could it be that this Xiang Taoist is the same person as Xiang Xianzhen? It seems to be the same person. Lu Xuanji said, fellow Taoists, do you want to accept the inheritance of Shine King Taoist? Accepting the inheritance is equivalent to offending a powerful god transforming master. Yuang Zhenjin pondered. According to the intelligence, this Xiang Taoist entered the god transforming state 3000 years ago, and now his cultivation is unfathomable. To accept this inheritance, you must cultivate to the god transforming state within 2000 years, to have the possibility of killing Xiang Taoist. It seems a bit troublesome. There is no free lunch in the world. When you enjoy the benefits, you must bear the corresponding price. God transforming, how difficult it is. 2000 years, entering the god transforming state, it is difficult to kill another god transforming state. Me. Yuang Zhenjin pondered, wanting to give up. But at the moment of opening his mouth, a trace of hesitation flashed across his mind. His aptitude, understanding, and luck were limited. If he didn't have a great opportunity, it would be almost impossible for him to enter the state of transformation. But now the opportunity was right in front of him. If he gave up, how unwilling he would be. How can we not fight for our life? If we don't fight for our life, how can we be willing? Yuang Zhenjin laughed. Who knows, within 2000 years, Taoist Xiang will pass away, or be killed by a powerful enemy on the way, and the oath will naturally be broken. Who knows, within 2000 years, my cultivation will be greatly improved, and I will kill Taoist Xiang. That's right. King Guyan Zhenren clapped his hands and laughed. Senior brother has been too cautious all his life, and seems a little timid. How can we succeed without taking risks in life? There is no case. The inheritance of Yuding Dangshan is right in front of us. How can we give it up? This is the inheritance of Liangsu Daneng. Lu Xuanji laughed. The treasure is right in front of us. How can we give it up? Everyone smiled at each other and began to divide the treasure. King Guyan Zhenren stepped forward, opened the Danliang bottle, smelled the pill bottle, and began to identify it. In the storage bag, there are 5 pill bottles. After opening a bottle and smelling the scent, True Man King Guyan said happily, this is a Yuanshan pill. If you take it at the peak of Yuanying, you will have a chance to enter the 3rd level and enter the Shenhua. Then he opened another bottle, and it was still a Yuanshan pill. In the 3rd bottle, there was a 5th grade Xiangsuan pill. After taking it, there is no side effect, and it can only improve one small realm. The disadvantage is that you can only take one in your lifetime. When the 4th bottle was opened, the pill inside had decayed and turned into dust with a faint smell. When the 5th bottle was opened, there was a 5th grade Shineling pill inside, which can strengthen the body and improve the physique. Looking at the pills, True Lord Yuang stepped forward and took a Yuanshan pill. True Man King Guyan hesitated and took a Yuanshan pill, saying, fellow Daoist Xuanji, among these pills, the Yuanshan pill is the most precious. Even my father may not be able to prepare it for me. Senior brother Yuang took one, and I took one, which is a bit unfair. Next, 1 5th grade Shineling pill, and 1 5th grade Xiangsuan pill, both belong to Daoist fellow. Next, Daoist fellow will be the first to choose the treasures. Okay, Lu Xuanji said, putting away the 2 pills. True Man King Guyan and True Lord Yuang breathed a sigh of relief, but there was a hint of guilt in their hearts. Then, divide the top grade spirit stones. True Man King Guyan took 1000 top grade spirit stones. True Lord Yuang took 1000 top grade spirit stones, and Lu Xuanji directly took 3000 top grade spirit stones as compensation for him. Next, it was these 5 magic weapons. These magic weapons are all 5th grade, a flying sword, a spear, a rope, a mirror, and a ring. The 3 of them took turns to go forward. True Man King Guyan took a flying sword and a rope. True Lord Yuang went forward to take the spear. Lu Xuanji took the mirror and the ring. Finally, there were 18 volumes of animal skins. These 18 volumes of animal skins, 1 volume of the Shenhua Gangfa, 10 volumes of the Yuanying Gangfa, and 7 volumes of the Divine Power Secrets. Lu Xuanji went forward to flip through them, and his mobile phone was flipping through them, recording the information in them. True Man King Guyan took out the Jade Book and made rubbings. True Lord Yueyang also made rubbings. Looking at the harvest this time, everyone was delighted. This expedition can be said to be full of gains and full of returns. Everyone left happily. Leave here and return to the state of Chu. Everyone was careful along the way, but there was no accident. When they crossed the 10,000 mountains and returned to the state of Chu, True Man King Guyan's mind was fluctuating, and he stepped forward and said, "If you have free time, you can go to the Xianling sect, King Guyan Peak. This is my token." As he said, he handed over a golden token. Lu Xuanji put away the token and said, "I will definitely go when I have time." Yueyang Zhenjin said, "Thanks to you this time, fellow Taoist. We will continue when we have time. We will continue when we have time." They said goodbye to each other and went home. Just after the two left, Lu Xuanji returned to Xiang Mountain and entered the cave. Later, Jinzi also walked out of the cave bead and said, "Congratulations, you are a hero who saves the beauty and you have harvested countless treasures again. Finally back. Wu is in some danger," Lu Xuanji said. He began to sort out some of the harvest and some treasures. Jinzi also stepped forward to look through some animal skins and said, "King Guyan, that girl is a bit cunning. She actually took away the most precious Yuanshan pill and left you some rags. She is not as pure as she looks." Lu Xuanji, Chapter 434. Jinzi enters the 6th level of Yuanying. This time, he went to the ancient ruins and got many treasures. But the most precious ones were the 2 Yuanshan pills. On the market, the price of a Yuanshan pill was between 20,000 and 30,000 top-grade spirit stones. It can be said that from the beginning to the end, Lu Xuanji was at a loss. He saved people, but in the end, he only got 3,000 top-grade spirit stones as compensation, which was a big loss. Thinking of this, Jinzi was a little indignant. Lu Xuanji smiled and said, "It's a bit of a loss. But it's not a big loss. It's not good to be too picky. Look at these animal skins." As he said that, he took out the 18 rolls of animal skins. These 18 rolls of animal skins recorded some skills and magical powers, but Yueyang Zhenjin and King Guyan Zhenren chose to copy them, and the originals of the skills were left to him. At this time, Lu Xuanji's palms were changing, constantly arranging and combining them. The originally scattered animal skins were suddenly combined together and turned into a scroll. He urged the magic power and infused it into the scroll, and the scroll was buzzing. The scroll was like a vampire, constantly absorbing its magic power, and the magic power was consumed as fast as running water. When the magic power was consumed for 7 layers, the void was flashing and changing, and a 3-foot long and wide scroll appeared. In the scroll, there was a small boat on the endless sea, and an old man was fishing on the small boat. But activate the scroll, and immediately the sea water surged out of the scroll, trying to suppress everything. The phantom of the sea water appeared in the void, as if it was about to evolve into reality, as if it was going to suppress it. But activate the scroll, and it immediately has great power. At this moment, the ancient map was changing, and a great pressure came, as if a god appeared, and the breath was restrained the moment it appeared. Congratulations, you have obtained a 6th grade spiritual treasure. Many gods do not have 6th grade spiritual treasures. Jinzi said, with envy in his words. Not just 6th grade, it should be a 7th grade spiritual treasure. But after the war, the spirit of the weapon has died. I don't know how long it will take to breed the spirit of the weapon. Lu Xuanji said with a little regret. Many higher level magic weapons have many runes and formations inside. If the cultivators rely on themselves to activate them, it will not only take a lot of effort, but also be difficult to accurately activate the formations. When activating the spiritual treasure, the mana loss is huge. If the strong bully the weak, a little mana loss is not a big problem. But when encountering a strong person of the same realm, excessive mana loss will bring fatal flaws and lead to defeat. Therefore, after the 6th grade, the magic weapon has a weapon spirit. The weapon spirit is perfectly familiar with the formation inside the magic weapon. If it is combined with the cultivator, it will not only save mana, but also have a terrifying combat power. For example, the weapon spirit of the Yuhua Tower and the weapon spirit of the Chunayang Sword are top level strongmen and great powers. The weapon spirit alone has terrifying combat power. This ancient map also has a weapon spirit, but after the war, the weapon spirit also died. In this ancient map, most of the formations are also damaged, and the grade of the magic weapon is also declining. At this moment, it is only a 6th grade spiritual treasure, but even so, it is a rare magic weapon. The higher the grade of magic weapon, the rarer the number. Because the materials needed for higher level magic weapon are more precious, many cultivators can't find the materials at all. Secondly, it takes a long time to refine higher level magic weapon. These factors combined together lead to the scarcity of higher level magic weapon. Among the 10 cultivators of the transformation of the spirit, only 2 or 3 cultivators have 6th grade spiritual treasures, and the remaining 7 or 8 mostly use 5th grade spiritual treasures. But, activating the magic weapon, Xuanji put it in his pocket. After counting the pills, he suddenly took out a pill and handed it over, saying, "Zia, take this pill. This is the 5th grade Xiangsuan pill. After taking it, you can upgrade a realm. You can only take it once in your life, and there is no disadvantage at all." Looking at the pill, Xuanji was slightly excited, but after a moment, he said, "This pill, I'll leave it to you. Besides, it's best to take it when you are at the 8th level of the nascent soul, when the effect is best. When taking pills, you naturally have to maximize the effect. The later the nascent soul realm is, the more time it takes, and the greater the difficulty. From the 1st level of the nascent soul to the 2nd level, from the 8th level of the nascent soul to the 9th level of the nascent soul, it seems that they are all advancing 1 level. But in terms of difficulty, it is doubling. You'd better take it." Xuanji shook his head and said, "If you have good things in your hands, you should eat them immediately. Don't leave them for the next day. Because you never know which will happen first, an accident or tomorrow. Who knows, tomorrow, we will be killed by the enemy, and the Xiangsuan pill will also fall into the hands of the enemy. It's better to eat it now." "Okay." Xuanji nodded, took the pill and swallowed it, refining the pill. "I'm going to retreat. It takes 10 years to refine the medicinal power. I'll wait for you," Xuanji said. Xuanji disappeared and entered the Chaos Ancient Hall to retreat. At this time, Xuanji also took out the Xianling pill and took it on the spot. The medicinal power was digested and turned into a terrifying force that spread in his body. He took a deep breath and also entered the ancient hall to retreat. Crash, crash. There was a crashing sound from the body, which was blown up by the terrifying power of the medicine, and blood flowed out. He practiced the technique to digest the power of the medicine, and the power of the medicine was melted into the body. His physique was slowly improving and steadily transforming. Time passed, and in the blink of an eye, another 15 years had passed. Boom boom boom. Xuanji practiced the technique, and his blood and ki were burning, like flames, surrounding him. He restrained his blood and ki, but his physical strength was increased by 2 levels. Crack, crack. He activated the Pure Yang Immortal Divine Ring, and suddenly a series of rings appeared outside his body, one after another, and 5 rings intertwined to form a terrifying defense. His body was like colored glass, exuding an immortal aura. After restraining his aura, Xuanji returned to his normal state, that is, the 2nd level of the nascent soul, but his strength was greatly improved. Just relying on his physical body, the strength of his blood and ki can compete with the cultivators in the early stage of the nascent soul, which can be called a human-shaped magic weapon. Of course, it's just comparable. In fact, as long as you are not a fool, you will not be stupid enough to use your body to resist the attack of magic weapons. A strong body can improve the strength of the physique and improve the survival ability of the cultivator. Xuanji looked at a room. Xuanji was still in retreat, refining the power of medicine. His breath fluctuated, sometimes strong, sometimes weak. Time was passing, and it was the moment of the 20th year. In the Chaos Ancient Palace, a terrifying breath leaked out, and after a long time, the breath was restrained. Xuanji walked out of the retreat room with a smile on his face and said, "I succeeded. Congratulations, you have become the 6th level of the nascent soul." Xuanji said. There was a hint of envy in his eyes. Originally, it took 150 years of polishing for Xuanji to enter the 6th level of the nascent soul. He could take the 5th grade Xiangsuan pill and enter the 6th level of the nascent soul in just 20 years. Xuan can save an on-crypt and can change fate. As long as you are willing to take drugs, the speed of cultivation will be very fast. It's a pity that Xiangsuan pill can only be taken once, and it is expensive. A 5th grade Xiangsuan pill costs 1000 top grade spirit stones, which is enough to make many nascent soul cultivators go bankrupt. Chapter 435 Nirvana Rebirth. In the world of cultivating immortals, money, companions, and magic are the key. Money is always the first priority. Cultivators are always short of money. After reaching the nascent soul stage, they often fall into a state of lack of money. Some elixirs are enough to make cultivators fall into financial difficulties. Thinking back to the price of the Xiangsuan pill, Xuanji was slightly nervous. Over the years, I have been constantly comprehending the picture of the solitary boat and the straw hat, and I have comprehended a volume of the refining void art and 3 supreme magical powers, which are good for us. Xuanji smiled, took out the scroll and spread it out. When he activated the secret technique, rays of light flashed, and words appeared one by one, gathering together and turning into a supreme magical power. As for the nascent soul art, the god transformation art, the great magical power, etc. represented in the animal skin state in front, they are much worse than the 1 volume of the refining void art and 3 volumes of the supreme magical power. It's a pity that the true man King Gan didn't know the golden laid with jade, and the true Lord Yueyang abandoned the basics. Looking at the words that appeared on the picture, Xuanji laughed for a moment and then read it carefully. At the beginning, he was a little careless, but gradually his expression became serious. Life and Death Sutra, a practice of the refining void level, can evolve the 2 energies of life and death by practicing this practice. With the help of the 2 energies of life and death, one can understand the mystery of the transformation of life and death. Using the energy of death, one can stimulate the potential of the human body, transform into nirvana, and speed up the practice. With the help of the energy of life, one can enhance the potential of the physical body, and strengthen the body. Life and death, yin and yang, illusion Xuanji was comprehending, and the next moment a figure appeared. It was King Lian Zhenjin. The two sat here at the same time, and began to comprehend the Life and Death Sutra. 3 days later, Xuanji opened his eyes. So that's how it is. So that's how it is. Xuanji said, my fundamental skill is Liang Yihu and Mi Shen, but unfortunately I only have half of it. I have Liang Yi Shen, but not Hu and Mi Shen. The skill is incomplete and there are hidden dangers. After I reached the nascent soul stage, I tried to repair it, but I was not able to comprehend it enough. But now I have the Life and Death Sutra, I can repair it, and evolve it into Liang Yi Life and Death Shen, to walk my own path. I'm going to retreat. As he said that, Xuanji disappeared, and went into retreat again. Xuanji, I originally wanted to practice yin and yang, but Xuanji went into retreat again. What a pity. King Lian Zhenjin smiled and said, she is the main body and I'm the secondary body. She is enough for you to comprehend the skill. I can accompany you. As he said that, he stepped forward and approached, exhaling like orchids. A faint sense of warmth came over, and Xuanji felt itchy in his heart, with an indescribable feeling. Xuanji said, I have also deduced a volume of skills, but it's hard to say how it is. As he said that, he handed over a jade slip. On the jade slip was written a technique called Liang Yi Yin Yang Body. King Lian Zhenjin took it and pondered it with his mind. After a long time, he said, this technique is very mysterious. Why don't you give it to her? Xuanji said, I can deduce the strongest technique, but I can't deduce the most suitable technique. This volume of techniques may not be suitable for him. In the eyes of each audience, there are 1,000 hamlets. After comprehending Liang Yi body, Xuanji comprehended life and death, and Xuanji comprehended yin and yang. There is no difference between who is stronger and who is weaker, just different focuses. With a mobile phone, he can deduce many techniques, but in fact he rarely deduced techniques for his Taoist partner and offspring. Because the mobile phone can deduce the strongest technique, but it can't deduce the most suitable technique. The mobile phone can deduce everything in the world, but it can't deduce human emotions. Many times, the strongest is not as good as the most suitable. This volume of skills is very mysterious. King Lian Zhenjin smiled. Sorry, I have to go into seclusion too. He stepped forward and kissed him, lingering like water. After a moment, King Lian's engine also disappeared and went into seclusion. He was left alone again. That's it. Xuanji smiled and began to comprehend the skills, magical powers, and some cultivation experience recorded in the picture of a solitary boat and a straw hat. The Taoist Shan King was very smart and used secret techniques to cover up everything. The skills recorded on the 18 volumes of animal skins were just the surface. The real inheritance was engraved on the picture of a solitary boat and a straw hat, which contained the complete inheritance of Yu Dangshan. The content was so much and involved so much that it was amazing. He kept flipping through these contents and sorting them out. These ancient books are roughly divided into 3 categories. One is the skills, the second is the magical powers, and the third is the cultivation notes. Among these skills, there are 15 volumes of skills that can be cultivated to the level of transformation. There are 8 volumes of skills that can be cultivated to the level of Dao Liangsu. In this technique, there are also some minor and major magical powers. At the end, it is clearly written that when reaching the nascent soul stage, most cultivators embark on the path of creating their own techniques, secret techniques, magical powers, etc., and begin to walk out of the barriers of their predecessors, and walk out of their own avenues. Of course, there are also cultivators who still follow the path of their predecessors, but the future path is getting narrower and narrower, and the combat effectiveness is getting weaker and weaker. For example, if you get the Liangsu technique, if you just practice hard and copy the above content, the possibility of becoming Liangsu is almost zero, and it is lucky to become Huashan. These techniques are all preparations for cultivators to create techniques. Now, the creation technique he practices has a little bit of the prototype of the avenue. Although there are still many defects, it is the most suitable for him. It's just that I want to continue to deduce, but it is slightly insufficient because of the lack of knowledge reserves. But now with these techniques and a large amount of knowledge reserves, the deduction of the creation technique has been improved and smoothed a lot. At this time, he fixed his eyes on these techniques, constantly comprehending and sorting them out. The structure of the creation technique was perfected. After 10 years, it was finally deduced to the 6th level of the nascent soul. The 6th level of nascent soul is enough for now, Xuanji thought. He skipped the skills and looked at the magical arts. There were only 2 supreme magical arts recorded here, both of which were mainly auxiliary. One of the magical arts, called Nirvana Rebirth, was mainly a supreme healing secret art, which could use fire as a material to consume one's own lifespan to heal the injuries on the body. At the beginning, Taoist Shan King went to the Purgatory volcano to use the Nirvana reincarnation art to heal the injuries on the body, but he was not lucky enough and failed in the end and died on the spot. There was another magical power called Takesu 5 Tribulations Light, which was a supreme attack and killing secret art, which could be transformed into a destructive light and turn everything into nothingness. He did not lack killing secret arts, but he lacked healing secret arts. After he was injured, he relied on the Kibu Shan to heal his injuries, and his methods were simple and crude. At this moment, comprehending the Nirvana Rebirth art, he felt different. Sitting in the cave, Xuanji kept pondering and began to comprehend the secrets. The flames on his body were burning, evolving into the supreme art. As the secret art operated, his magical powers gradually began to enter the entry stage. Chapter 436 Luzan is seriously injured. But the flames were burning in the void, surrounding the body, with endless good fortune condensing, constantly evolving and dying. There was vitality evolving in the flames, and after a while, it slowly converged. Nirvana Rebirth technique, small success. Xuanji frowned slightly. The power of the Nirvana Rebirth technique at the small success level is average, which is very embarrassing. At least the role of replenishing the weather is in the Nirvana Rebirth technique. To play its corresponding role, it is necessary to enter the great success or even the perfect state. Calculating the time with fingers, he is the 2nd level of Yuanying cultivation, and his bone age is 932 years old. With such a bone age, reaching such a realm is not fast, but it is not slow either. The speed is medium to fast. There are 3 cultivation methods. One is the creation secret, one is the pure yang sutra, and one is the yin yang transformation spirit root into the 5 element spirit root, which can control the 5 element magic such as gold, wood, water, fire, and earth. Cultivate 2 great divine intentions. One is the endless mortal world, which can evolve endless mortal world scrolls to confuse the enemy's Tau heart. The other is the withering and flourishing of plants and trees, which can absorb the power of plants and trees and restore its own magic power. There are also 2 major anomalies, the pure yang sun, the yin yang life and death diagram. As for the magical powers and secret techniques, most of the small and big magical powers have been abandoned because of their small power. Mainly cultivate the supreme magical power, escape golden light, big 5 element yin yang yuan magnetic starlight universe extinction divine sword, nirvana rebirth technique, pure yang immortal divine ring, etc. In the secret techniques, there are 9 changes of fish and dragon, and king divine form, dragonfly divine form, flea divine form. There are also Kyank and Gerd, Chaos Map, God Killing Hammer, Optimus Prime Shadowless Sword, Immortal Shield, Dingshan Mirror, Dangshan Eye, Tangshan Bridge, Zanshan Axe, Fengshan Talisman, Xuanji Ladder, Dunai Map, Year's Clock, All Wonders Gate, Dangshan Divine Spear, Xuanji Ball, Avoiding Heaven Coffin, Awakening Bell, Chaos Thunder Talisman, Book of the Earth, Bati Ending, Swallowing Heavending, Zushan Armor, etc. A total of 24 life magic weapons. There is also an insect raising gourd, which is used to raise gold eating insects. There is also a Chunayang broken sword, the power of which is unknown. A Chunayang token, a symbol of the Chunayang lineage, a marriage certificate, which allows you to marry a dragon girl as your wife, or go to the dragon palace to be a son-in-law, as well as some fairy gold, Dangshan beads, and a picture of a lonely boat with a straw hat. There is also a Yuanshan pill, given by senior Liushu. There are also 2 Taoist companions, Yiwanai and Jinzi. There are also 3 maids, Ningzhu, Longzuan, and Hanfu. Counting my own assets, it can be said that there are many treasures, and it is worthy of the name of many treasures. Even some divine transformation cultivators do not have as many treasures as him. If he directly reveals the treasures on his body, it may attract some divine transformation to rob him. So, I'm so rich, my Taoist name is wrong. I should be called Duobeo Zenjin. Lu Xuanji laughed. He walked out of the cave and sensed the situation around him. Zenjin Xiao was in retreat. The Taoist rhyme was fluctuating around him. The 2 energies of life and death were flowing, evolving the black and white Teikai diagram. The 2 yin and yang were born and destroyed. The breath was fluctuating, and he was immersed in deep enlightenment. In another cave, Zenjin Kingian was also meditating. A green lotus appeared above his head, and above the green lotus, the 2 energies of yin and yang were evolving. The Taoist patterns around him were fluctuating and changing, evolving the supreme mystery. They were all immersed in enlightenment, modifying their skills, and taking the path that suits them. Looking in other directions again, Yiwanai was also in retreat, and was attacking the 2nd level of Yuanying. It would take some time before she could come out of retreat. Greetings, Master. At this time, a woman in white came over. It was Ningzhu. How are you recently? Lu Xuanji asked. The situation has been a bit chaotic in recent times. Ningzhu said, recently, there was a great war between the state of Chu and the Shuan Mountains. The key refining cultivators, foundation building cultivators, purple mansion cultivators, and golden elixir cultivators of the state of Chu have joined the war one after another. The human race has seized countless territories, and also lost some territories. During the battle, more than 50 human and more than 80 golden elixir cultivators died. The leaders of both sides are trying to restrain themselves and avoid a nascent soul battle. In the recent battle, the Lu family lost 2 golden elixir cultivators, more than 30 purple mansion cultivators, and nearly 500 foundation building cultivators. As for the lower level key refining cultivators, there are countless more. My Lu family has a strong foundation and can withstand the losses brought about by the war. Those small families have all suffered a devastating disaster. In Ningzhu's description, 30 years ago, the human race of Chu State and the demon race of the 10,000 Mountains had a great war, and they fought each other bloodily. Except for not using the nascent soul cultivators and the divine transformation cultivators, almost all the cultivators were used, and many trump cards were used. Then, the fight began. In the fierce bloody fight, countless cultivators died. A nascent soul family like the Lu family has 6 nascent soul cultivators, more than 10 golden core cultivators, and as for the purple mansion cultivators, there are thousands of them. The losses in the battle can still be borne, but those families of the lower level cultivators, the foundation building is the patriarch, and the purple mansion is the pillar of the family. The death of the foundation building cultivator is a catastrophe for the purple mansion cultivator. As the war continues, the major immortal cultivation forces are undergoing a cruel reshuffle. Countless families will rise, and countless immortal cultivation families will go to extinction. Not long ago, Master Lu Zion was seriously injured. Ningzu said, "My son is injured." Lu Xuanji said, "Let's go and take a look." Arriving at the cave, Lu Xuanji saw his son Lu Zion, who was lying on the bed at the moment, his face pale, his blood and qi was sluggish, and his breath fluctuated. Zion's engine was by his side, but his face was filled with worry and inexplicable sadness. "Father," Lu Zion said. Lu Xuanji sat on the bed, pressed his fingers on Lu Zion's wrist, and began to check. A series of divine thoughts flashed, insight into the state of his body. In Lu Zion's body, a stream of Xuanming magic power was eroding his flesh, and when it was intertwined with the pure Yang body, it was constantly colliding. Gray scars appeared on the golden elixir, and the Xuanming magic power was eroding the golden elixir, and the golden elixir was seriously damaged. That strange power was constantly eroding. At the same time, Xian's engine urged the secret technique to suppress the strange erosion. But the situation did not improve, but continued to deteriorate. "Who seriously injured you?" Lu Xuanji asked. "The strong man of the Xuanming lineage, the Xuanming Demon King seriously injured my husband." Xian's engine said worriedly, "Not only that, but the Xuanming magic power is also eroding your husband's golden elixir, and the golden elixir has also suffered some damage. Xiana, don't worry for now. As long as I'm here, I can heal your injuries." Lu Xuanji comforted. He went to the bed and began to observe carefully, understanding the state of her body. At the same time, pure Yang magic power began to enter Lu Zion's body, expelling the Xuanming true water. Kai. Water and fire were colliding, and the Xuanming magic power was wearing away a little bit, and dissipated a little bit. Chapter 437, Love for the Sun, the God of Transformation attacks. The technique was in operation, and the pure Yang power was endless, constantly pouring into Lu Zion's body, expelling the Xuanming power. The Xuanming power was constantly being consumed and reduced, and Lu Zion's injuries were recovering little by little. The color on Lu Zion's face was constantly recovering. Looking at this scene, Lu Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief, and continued to activate the pure Yang power, to expel the Xuanming power. This process was extremely long and meticulous. Once the power was too heavy, it would cause severe damage to his body. After 7 days, the Xuanming power in Lu Zion's body was completely consumed. Only the Jiandan was still eroded by the Xuanming power. Lu Xuanji activated the power, and entered Lu Zion's Danshan. The power wrapped the Jiandan and carefully expelled the Xuanming power. But at this moment, the Xuanming power entrenched in Lu Zion's body seemed to come alive, and its agility was increasing. It turned into a small snake, and entered Lu Xuanji's body, eroding the Yuanying. Haha. The python laughed wildly. "Xuanji, you have planned everything in your life, but you still love your son too much. You have fallen into my trap. You will definitely die today." The little snake evolved from Mana Ord, entered Lu Xuanji's body, and eroded the nascent soul. Not good. At this moment, Lu Xuanji felt a chill, and felt that death was coming. The little snake, in terms of mana, was only at the level of the 9th level of the golden core, but in terms of quality, it was comparable to a powerful person in the god transformation realm. There was a divine will surging in the mana, and there was a domineering power that swallowed the sky and the earth. At this moment, the little snake seemed to turn into a giant python that swallowed the sky, swallowing the nascent soul, and wanted to eat his nascent soul. At this moment, even though Lu Xuanji was mentally slow, he understood. He was being plotted against, and a powerful person in the god transformation realm attacked him. Because they were afraid of the powerful Huashen of Chu, the Huashen of the demon clan did not dare, and could not appear in the territory of Chu. So they fought on the battlefield, and used a giant and demon king of the Xuanming clan to injure their son Lu Xian, and even injected a strange magic power into their son Lu Xian's Jianden. At this time, this magic power was like a maggot on the tarsal bone, eroding his son's Jianden. Lu Xuanji, who loved his son dearly, urged the pure yang magic power to treat his son's injuries. At this moment, the strange magic power lurking in his son's Jianden turned into a giant python that swallowed his Jianden. Suddenly, Lu Xuanji thought of the warnings of Xiao's engine and Fiao's engine. In their warnings, be careful of the demon clan's Huashen attacking him. Killing a human race's Xianjiao is equivalent to eliminating a strong enemy for the demon clan in advance. But all along, the demon clan's Huashen has been silent and has not taken action, so Lu Xuanji also became careless. Who would have thought that the demon race's incarnation would not attack, but once it did, it would be a devastating blow, giving him a fatal blow. 24 treasures, come out. At this moment, Lu Xuanji shouted, and the Qiankan Gerd in his danshan opened, and magic weapons flew out one by one. Many magic weapons were combined together, and the defense power was constantly superimposed, turning into a terrifying force to resist. However, it was useless. The swallowing giant python attacked, and the magic weapons were broken. The Qiankan Gerd was breaking, the chaos map was breaking, the Bushanding was breaking, the swallowing heavending was breaking, and the magic weapons were breaking one by one. The power of the grey giant python was also consumed. When the 24 magic weapons were broken, the grey giant python still had terrifying power, and swallowed the Yuanying. The picture of a lonely boat and a straw hat. At this moment, a picture opened, with a lake rippling, a distant mountain, heavy snow flying, a lonely boat, an old man in a straw hat, a fishing rod, and swimming fish. The scroll was opening, suppressing the grey python. Kai. The two sides were fighting, colliding, and destroying each other. Lu Xuanji's mana was intensively consumed. How huge was the consumption of mana to activate such a 6th grade magic weapon? In the end, the grey python was constantly consumed, constantly destroyed, and dissipated. Xuanji, you are so lucky to have a 6th grade spiritual treasure. The grey python sighed slightly before dissipating. He didn't have a 6th grade spiritual treasure, but a junior at the 2nd level of the nascent soul had a 6th grade spiritual treasure. What a good fortune, what luck. Just when Lu Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief, he felt creepy, and felt that danger was coming. But, almost in an instant, he activated the Pure Yang Immortal Divine Ring, and 3 divine rings rose. When the 4th divine ring was about to rise, a dagger stabbed him in the back. Swish. When the dagger stabbed into his back, it collided with the Immortal Divine Ring, and the 1st divine ring was broken, the 2nd divine ring was broken, and the 3rd divine ring was broken. Then, the dagger pierced through Lu Xuanji's body, and stabbed at his heart. On the dagger, a strange curse broke out and swept over. Suddenly, Lu Xuanji felt his body getting cold, as if it was winter. Since he started cultivating immortals, his physique has been constantly improving, and he is almost immune to cold and heat, and he will not feel cold, but at this moment, he feels bone-chilling cold, and his teeth are chattering. At this moment, Lu Xuanji looked intently. The cultivator who made the move was actually Xian's engine. Xian's engine, Lu Xian's Taoist partner and his daughter-in-law, had red eyes at this moment, and her eyes were full of madness. Holding the dagger in his hand, he stabbed at his heart. Ahem. Lu Xuanji urged his magic power, and was about to fight back, but the curse on the dagger broke out, and eroded him in an instant. The magic power dissipated like a tide. Boom boom boom. Lu Xuanji, go to hell. At this moment, Xian's engine sneered, and a flying sword appeared in his hand and stabbed forward. You are looking for death. At this moment, Ningzu's body flashed with pure yin energy, and the power of destruction surged out. She waved her hand, and hit him with the palm. Taiyin Jushin palm. Bang bang. The two sides clashed together, and the cave was exploding. Swish. Xian's engine activated the magic, and a long black banner appeared and suppressed it. Ningzu shouted, and a mirror appeared in her hand. The mirror light flashed with a silver light to suppress everything. Boom boom boom. Fast against fast. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen moves were exchanged. Xian Zhenjin's breath was boiling, his eyes were bloodshot, as if burning the source of life to burst out the ultimate fighting power, looking for death. At this moment, the void flashed, and a woman in green appeared. She was as holy as a green lotus. Her palm grabbed down, and her 5 fingers were like mountains. It was Qinglian Zhenjin. Bang! Xian Zhenjin fell to the ground, and was suppressed on the spot. You plotted against your husband, you should be killed. Qinglian Zhenjin flashed with murderous intent, and was about to use the secret technique, to suppress her to death. Show mercy, Lu Zian said. But Qinglian Zhenjin ignored her, and urged the divine fire to continue refining. Show mercy, cough cough. At this time, Lu Xuanji spoke. Qinglian Zhenjin hesitated slightly and said, why is this? She wanted to kill you just now. Chapter 438, Curse of Withering and Flourishing. At this point, a trace of killing intent flashed in the eyes of the true Lord Qinglian. In her eyes, Lu Xuanji was the most important. As for the daughter-in-law of the true Lord Xian, she was not important. As for the son Lu Xian, she was not important either. Lu Xian, he was just Yuanai's son. If he had any relationship with certain people, she would not mind killing him for the sake of justice. It was just a son. She could just kill him and give birth to another one. She could also give birth to a son for Xuanji. She was controlled by the demon race's god. She didn't really mean to attack just now. Cough cough cough. Lu Xuanji coughed, with a sigh in his expression. He just found that the true Lord Xian was not right. The true Lord Qinglian also looked at him intently, and found that there was something wrong with the true Lord Xian. The true Lord Xian's eyes were bloodshot. His soul was a little confused. There was a strange power eroding him, and there were 2 forces fighting in his soul. Qinglian purification. The true Lord Qinglian activated the secret technique, and a green magic power entered the body of the true Lord Xian, making a hissing sound. True Lord Xian sneered and laughed strangely. Xuanji, you have been cursed by me. You will wither and flourish every day. You will wither and flourish every 100 years. Let's see how long you can hold on. At this moment, the strange smile disappeared. The black hair on true Lord Xian's face disappeared, and his blood-red eyes became clear. He was sweating all over. He said in a hoarse voice, Father, I'm sorry, I stabbed him. Lu Xuanji was about to say something, but he coughed the moment he opened his mouth. The breath on his body was dissipating, and the strange curse was eroding his body. Take him down. Put him in the dungeon. True Lord Qinglian said coldly, and grabbed True Lord Xian at the moment of waved his hand, and threw him into the dungeon, suppressing him. The dungeon was clean and hygienic, without harsh punishments, and more symbolic. True Lord Xian felt ashamed, and did not resist, allowing him to enter the death row. Father, I'm sorry. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have been tricked. Lu Xian said, and left in shame, and also entered the dungeon. Cough cough cough. Lu Xuanji wanted to comfort something, but he couldn't speak. His body was cold and trembling. The strength in his body was fading. When he stretched his muscles and bones, he felt sore all over, as if he had entered old age. The power of the curse on the dagger was surging. Lu Xuanji stretched out his hand to pull out the dagger, but at this moment, Qinglian Zhenjin said, Husband, don't do that. If you pull out the dagger, the injury will worsen. Sure enough, Lu Xuanji sighed, and just when he was about to pull out the dagger, he felt uneasy in his heart. It seemed that, when the dagger was pulled out, there was great fear and great danger. True Lord Qinglian said, the curse of withering and flourishing is one of the top curses. Under this curse, 100 years of life can be cut off in one day. After 99 and 81 days, 8,100 years of the cultivator's life will be cut off. If a cultivator who has reached the divine transformation stage is hit by this curse, his lifespan will be dried up, and he will die. Is there any way to break the curse? Lu Xuanji asked. Qinglian Zhenjin said, there are 3 main ways to break the curse. One is to suppress the curse with a strong cultivation. If a cultivator of the Liangsu realm can rely on his own cultivation to suppress the curse, at most he will lose 800 years of his life. Secondly, if there is a top level magic weapon to suppress it, the curse can also be broken. My body is a green lotus, which has the effect of expelling and suppressing the curse. If I enter the realm of transformation, I can easily break the curse with the magical effect of the green lotus. But now I'm only the 6th level of the nascent soul, and can only suppress part of the curse. Your lifespan will be reduced from 8,100 years to 4,000 years. Don't talk about the third method. At this point, King Zenjin's eyes flashed with murderous intent and a trace of anger. In order to be ruthless to you, the 2 demon race transformation gods did not hesitate to lose face, bully the weak, and plot against you. Recalling the scene just now, King Zenjin's eyes flashed with a sigh, and there was a strong unwillingness. When they reached the realm of transformation, those strong gods rarely bullied the weak, and attacked the nascent soul cultivators. On the one hand, a mere nascent soul cultivator is not worthy of the divine transformation. What if he is a genius or a monster? When he reaches the nascent soul stage, who is not a monster? Who is not a genius? But most cultivators fall on the threshold of the divine transformation. Many divine transformation cultivators have seen too many geniuses in their lives. They are full of confidence and think they will achieve divine transformation and prove the infinite truth. But in the end they turn into ashes. A mere genius is not worthy of their attack. On the other hand, divine transformation cultivators also have children, disciples, successors, etc. If they attack to bully the weak, it is inevitable that the opponent will also attack his wife and children, and his disciples. There is mutual deterrence and fear between divine transformation cultivators. For the sake of the younger generation, divine transformation cultivators will not attack the younger generation. The third reason is that divine transformation cultivators are very busy. They are busy practicing every day and have no time to care about the younger generation. If they want to kill this genius today and want to kill that genius tomorrow, then divine transformation cultivators will not practice or improve their cultivation. Generally speaking, divine transformation cultivators will not be attacked by nascent soul cultivators. Because they are not worthy, because they are not worth it, because they do not have time. But Xuanji is good. 2 spirit transforming cultivators attacked him directly. One left a trap in the golden elixir, and the other controlled the nascent soul cultivator to assassinate him. How shameless is this? Xuanji coughed and said, the withering and flourishing curse reduces the lifespan of cultivators by 8,100 years. That is to say, if I have a lifespan of 10,000 years, can I survive the withering and flourishing curse? Yes. True Lord Kinglian nodded and said, the lifespan of key training is 120 years, the lifespan of foundation building is 240 years, the lifespan of Zifu is 480 years, the lifespan of Jiandan is 1000 years, the lifespan of nascent soul is 2000 years. And the lifespan of spirit transforming cultivator is 5000 years. Only the lifespan of the powerful cultivators is 10,000 years. But you are just a nascent soul cultivator, with only 2000 years of life. Now you have 1100 years of life left. You can't survive 81 days at all. You may not be able to hold on the 12th day. Coincidentally, I have a fruit of time, which can increase your lifespan by 10,000 years. Xuanji smiled, and took a box directly from the cave bead. What is he indicating? True Lord Kinglian immediately activated his magic power to block the surroundings. At this moment, even the god of transformation could hardly observe the changes here. Xuanji opened the box and saw a red fruit inside, the size of a fist, as red as fire, with a seal on it. What is this? True Lord Kinglian asked. 7th grade year's fruit. After taking it, you can increase your lifespan by 10,000 years. Xuanji coughed and said, as for the disadvantage, it is that my cultivation is too weak. If I take this divine fruit, it may cause the medicinal power to be wasted, or it may be directly burst by the terrifying medicinal power. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 439, Breaking the Curse. The 7th grade fruit of time is a top level divine fruit. If a cultivator of the god transformation stage takes it, it can increase his lifespan by 10,000 years. Humans are short-lived and their lifespan is not long to begin with, so increasing their lifespan by 10,000 years is of great significance. According to Xuanji's calculations, the 7th grade fruit of time will have the best effect when one reaches the god transformation stage or even the void refining stage. But now, in order to resist the curse of withering and flourishing, he has to take the divine fruit in advance, which is a big loss. Of course, he is also facing the greatest danger. The 7th grade divine fruit contains terrifying medicinal power, and after taking it, it may be directly blown up by the terrifying medicinal power. King Lian, help me protect the law. Xuanji coughed again and said, I want to take the 7th grade fruit of time and fight for that ray of life. In his joy, true Lord King Lian said with sorrow, the 7th grade fruit of time is still too dangerous. If a cultivator of the god transformation stage refines it into a pill. He only said half of it, and couldn't say it out. The divine fruit, that can increase lifespan is the rarest. The 7th grade fruit of time is also extremely desired by the cultivator of the god transformation stage. Many divine transformation cultivators only have a lifespan of 5,000 years. Even if they live a second life, the lifespan of the two lives combined is only 10,000 years. But if you take it directly, you can increase your lifespan by 10,000 years. What a great fortune. If it falls into the hands of divine transformation cultivators, most of them will be like throwing meat buns at dogs, and there will be no return. Don't test the character of divine transformation cultivators, because they often can't stand the test. Ahem. King Lian, go down. Xuanji coughed. True Lord King Lian was nervous and turned away. He set up a formation outside the cave, to cover everything to prevent accidents. Master, what's wrong? Ningzu asked. He has a divine fruit. After taking it, it can resolve the calamity, but the medicinal power is a bit too strong. It seems that he is afraid that it can't hold up. True Lord King Lian said with sadness in his eyes. Ningzu thought, what should I do? Thinking of this, she felt unspeakable worry in her heart. True Lord King Lian, however, examined the woman in front of him, and seemed to have thought of something. Xiaoxu, you are a pure yin body, and you can merge with Xuanji's pure yang body, and help him resolve the disaster. True Lord Xiao took action, and cultivated you to the Yuanying realm, just to help Xuanji, and help Xuanji reach the 10th level of the golden elixir. As a result, Xuanji had another opportunity, and didn't need you. At this time, he needs your help. Can I? Ningzu listened, stunned. In the stunned state, a faint snickering flashed. You can do it. True Lord King Lian said, encouraging words. But he was not confident in his heart. In the world of cultivating immortals, the pure yang body and the pure yin body are essentially a natural match, and they fit each other very well. Unfortunately, the pure yang body is rare and hard to find, and the pure yin body is even harder to find. The moments when the two meet are even rarer. The moments when they meet, the number of gatherings is even rarer. Ningzu nodded and entered. In the cave, Xuanji felt the curse on his body. The curse was like a maggot on the tarsal bone, corroding the flesh and blood, corroding the soul. The lifespan of the body was decreasing. Not only the lifespan was decreasing, but also the blood and energy in the body were depleted, and the mana was depleted. He used his mana to suppress the curse, but the curse was like a tide, surging into the body wave after wave. He hesitated for a moment, and was about to take the fruit of time. But at this moment, the cave opened, and a woman in white came out. It was Ningzu. My lord, I'm a pure yin holy body, which is of great benefit to you. I can help you suppress the curse. Ningzu said with a red face, but there was joy in her words. Okay. Xuanji nodded. This moment is not the time to be hypocritical. Among the women he met, Yi Feix's innate Dao fetus was born close to the Dao and her enlightenment speed was fast. Jinzi's immortal sword body was born with amazing attack power. Long Xuan's true dragon body was strong and her blood was thick. King Lion's heavenly demon Dao body contained the secrets of the demon Dao, and Yi Wanai's ice soul Dao body was also unparalleled in attack. These special physiques are all supreme creations, each with its own merits. But none of them is as good as Ningzu's pure yin holy body, which is the most suitable for him. Ningzu was happy, and was about to undress. Wait a minute, there is no need for this. The main thing is to put your hands together, and the true energy will flow into one, turning into a mixed yuan. Lu Xuanji stopped him. Master Ningzu felt a little resentful when she heard it. I have a technique called yin-yang transformation. Lu Xuanji said, this technique is extremely mysterious. I have seen many techniques, but none of them are as mysterious and as good as this one in terms of understanding the Tao. If it is deduced to the extreme, it can evolve into the innate 5-te. As he said this, he sent the content of the technique to Ningzu to understand, and she only had a partial understanding. Lu Xuanji took out the fruit of time and took it on the spot. The fruit of time melted in his mouth, and the terrifying medicinal power began to spread. There was endless vitality in the medicinal power, and the vitality was surging and entering his body. The body absorbed the medicinal power, and changes occurred in the dark, and his lifespan was increasing. Originally, Lu Xuanji's lifespan was 2000 years, but after taking it, it increased to 2100 years, 2200 years, and 2300 years, and his lifespan was constantly increasing. At the same time, the curse was also erupting, fighting with the power of time and the power of vitality in the fruit of time, constantly tearing, constantly fighting, and constantly erasing. His lifespan was decreasing again. 2300 years, 2200 years, 2000 years. The medicinal power of the fruit of time was exploding, and his lifespan was increasing. His lifespan was increasing, and his lifespan was decreasing. Suddenly, his body became a battlefield, and he was constantly fighting. A black curse rune appeared, like a poisonous snake eroding his body. The medicinal power of the fruit of time was exploding, and it turned into a white tiger and pounced on him. The poisonous snake and the white tiger clashed, and the two fought together. The battlefield was his body. Boom boom boom. The two sides were fighting, constantly tearing each other apart, and constantly annihilating each other. The battlefield was Lu Xuanji's body, and they fought each other. Puff. At this moment, Lu Xuanji spat out a mouthful of black blood, and bloody marks appeared on his body, and his body seemed to explode. The Pure Yang Sutra, Yin and Yang transformation, creation art, etc., all started to operate, but the injury remained. At this moment, Ningzu took action, and the two put their hands together. Lu Xuanji injected Pure Yang power into her body. It was unknown whether there was pure yang power, the medicinal power of the fruit of time, or the curse power of the curse of withering and flourishing. Suddenly, black spots appeared on Ningzu's body, and grey runes surged on her nascent soul. She suddenly felt her body getting cold, as if she had entered a harsh winter. The nascent soul true lord was immune to cold and heat, and had a strong physique. But at this moment, Ningzu was shivering with cold, as if she had returned to her teenage years, when she was sick, and had a cold. Her body was shivering, but she gritted her teeth and persisted. After absorbing the pure yang power, and circulating it in her body for a punch, the pure yang power was transformed into pure yin power, and injected into Lu Xuanji's body again. Chapter 440, 8th rank Divine Will, Chaos Inchu. As the pure yin power entered his body, Lu Xuanji felt comfortable, like taking a bath. The pain caused by the curse was reduced a lot. Just like that, the two put their palms together, and the power kept flowing in their bodies. The pure yang power and the pure yin power kept flowing, turning into a mixed yuan. Yin alone cannot produce, and yang alone cannot grow. Yin and yang merge, and all things are born. With the flow of yin and yang, Lu Xuanji felt that the curse on his body was reduced by half, because Ningzu bore the other half. Ningzu's body was trembling, but her expression did not change, and she did not show any sign of retreat. Activate yin and yang transformation, Lu Xuanji said. Ningzu nodded, and began to practice the skills. From the initial disharmony, she quickly entered the state. The love was lingering, and the state of the two was improving. The feelings were heating up, from quite fond of, gradually changed to deeply fond of, and then entered secretly in love, special love. Love is stronger than gold, love is as deep as the sea. Lu Xuanji was slightly surprised by how quickly the relationship grew, and how lingering it was. Many things can deceive people, but only love cannot. At the beginning, when he took her in as a maid, he had a clear goal, which was to be attracted by her body. He was attracted by the benefits of her pure yin holy body dual cultivation, which can be said to be a clear goal. At the beginning, he also said the same thing to her. Later, the time he spent with her was also very short, and the relationship was not very deep. If we talk about his feelings for Ningzu, it was only at the level of, quite fond of, but Ningzu's feelings for him reached, love as deep as the sea. The love was entangled, and the two shared the power of the curse. The power of the withering and flourishing curse was reduced by half under the effect of yin and yang transformation. Only the ordinary withering and flourishing curse was left, which was constantly being consumed under the fusion of yin and yang. But, at this moment, Lu Xuanji's mind moved, and the second god rose up with withering and flourishing, and began to erode the withering and flourishing curse. The two forces collided with each other, constantly fighting each other, and constantly eroding each other. In the world, there are no two completely similar leaves. Seemingly similar physiques will evolve into different directions as they develop. The later they are, the greater the changes. The same is true for divine will. Seemingly similar divine wills are actually completely different. The divine will of withering and flourishing that Lu Xuanji comprehended mainly focused on the withering and flourishing of plants and trees, the rise and fall of all things, and could plunder the power of plants and trees to heal his own injuries. But the divine will of withering and flourishing that the demon race transformed into a god focused on the withering of plants and trees and focused on plundering life. The two are different, but they are also similar. One is to plunder the vitality of plants and trees, and the other is to plunder life. But, comprehending the difference between the two, Lu Xuanji activated the divine will of withering and flourishing, and began to erode the withering and flourishing curse. But, withering and flourishing curse is surging, and its power is above the divine will of withering and flourishing. Lu Xuanji's urging of divine will is endless, but withering and flourishing curse is a source without a root, constantly being melted and refined. The power of the curse was weakening and being refined. As Lu Xuanji refined the curse, the grade of Kurang's divine will was improving, gradually reaching the 8th level. There is no high or low in divine will, but there are strong and weak. The 9th level is the lowest, and the 1st level is the highest. In the nascent soul realm, Lu Xuanji has condensed his divine will, and the grade of his divine will is transforming and improving. 10 days later, the Kurang curse dissipated. But at this moment, the divine will on Lu Xuanji's body was transforming and turning into the 8th level of divine will. Thank you for your help, Lu Xuanji said. It's my duty to help the master. Ningzu blushed. Besides, I benefit a lot. After refining the 7th level fruit of time, she gained huge benefits, and her lifespan increased to 5,000 years. Her cultivation was also improving, from the 1st level of nascent soul to the 2nd level of nascent soul. Master, I want to retreat for a while to consolidate my cultivation, Ningzu said. Go. Lu Xuanji nodded. Ningzu blushed and disappeared. After all, it was improved by the power of medicine. It was very superficial and unstable. She needed to lay a solid foundation. Snap, snap, stretch his muscles and bones. Lu Xuanji felt that his cultivation was improving. He had already entered the 3rd level of the nascent soul. This was because his realm was too low, which led to the waste of most of the medicine. Otherwise, it would not be just one level. Feeling his lifespan increased to 4,000 years. Of course, the biggest benefit is that the withering and flourishing divine will has been upgraded to the 8th level. When the divine will is activated, it can absorb the vitality of plants and trees within a radius of 1,000 miles and convert it into mana to make up for its own loss. The speed of converting mana is extremely fast. It can be converted into mana in almost an instant. The speed of mana conversion is extremely fast. As long as there are plants and trees, his mana is inexhaustible and endless, and his ability to fight for a long time is greatly improved. Activating the 9-colored divine sword is undoubtedly powerful, but the corresponding mana loss is also huge. But with the 8th level, withering and flourishing divine will, the disadvantage of high mana consumption is perfectly compensated. The divine will of the mortal world evolved from the changes of yin and yang. The divine will of withering and flourishing evolved from the heavenly wood method. It seems that the so-called divine will is essentially evolved from the magical power of the skills, and it has unspeakable mysteries. Lu Xuanji pondered. At this moment, a woman in green walked into the cave and said with a smile, Congratulations, your cultivation has advanced further, and your divine will has also been upgraded to a higher level. Thanks to Xuanji this time. Xuanji said, this matter is not over. When I enter the stage of transformation, I must go and kill the two enemies of the demon clan. The enemies who attacked him were still two demon clan gods. One was the Black Python demon lord and the other was the Peach Blossom demon lord. These two demon clan strongmen are both at the stage of transformation. Now that he can't beat them, he can only talk back here. True Lord Kinglian said, not long ago, there was an all-out war between the Xuan Mountains and the state of Chu. The strongest man in the state of Chu, Xianzhen Dongji, was trapped in a secret realm. During the battle, Xianzhen Bidao was killed, Xianzhen Haota was injured, and Xianzhen Shengming and Xianzhen Danliang used the formation to seriously injure three demon gods. Later, the Yuanying strongmen of the demon race took action one after another, leading the demon veins of various tribes to attack the state of Chu. The human race was caught off guard, and large tracts of territory on the front line were lost. Countless Jiandan cultivators and Yuanying cultivators were killed. It was really miserable. Not long ago, an urgent order to transform into a god was received. True Lord Xiaoyu, True Lord Bingpo, True Lord Langsun, True Lord Xian, etc. all went to the battlefield on the front line to resist the invasion of the demon race. The Lu family also has Xiang Mountain, with 9 level Jiandan cultivators, 7 level Zifu cultivators, 5 level foundation building cultivators, etc. all urgently went to the battlefield. Chu is now in chaos, and is in an unprecedented crisis. If we are not careful, we may be annihilated. Chapter 441, The Eve of Chaos. In the cave, the atmosphere was somewhat depressing, and the situation was somewhat critical. True Lord Kinglian spoke. Just a few words, but he directly stated the cruelty of the situation. A war broke out. An unprecedented war broke out. Whether it was the previous beast tides or the fight that happened not long ago, both sides essentially controlled the scale of the war and the intensity of the war. If the intensity of the war is not controlled, it will fall into a state of loss of control, and both sides will pay a huge price. In the previous beast tides, both sides attacked and killed continuously, and more of them used the war to reduce the excess population and save resources. At the same time, with the help of the war, they continued to train soldiers, select some geniuses, and accelerate the birth of Jiandan monks and Yuanying monks. With the help of war, those monks with bad luck, poor qualifications, poor comprehension, and bad opportunities were eliminated one after another. Every time the beast tide came, countless monks of the human race were killed, and countless immortal families were destroyed, which was a heavy death. Also in the beast tide, a large number of earth-level monsters, and so on were also killed by the strong men of the human race. However, no matter how they fought, no matter how heavy the casualties were, Yuanying's engine would not participate in the war. Just like in the previous life, no matter how the 5 rogue countries fought, they would not use nuclear weapons. But now it's good. Yuanying cultivators have taken action, and Huashan cultivators have also taken action. If the demon clan didn't take action, it would be fine. Once they took action, they used a thunderbolt to directly trap the strongest Dongji Xianzhen with the help of a secret realm, and killed Bidao Xianzhen. Suddenly, there were only 3 Xianzhen strongmen left in Chu. There were 3 Huashan of the human race and 8 Huashan of the demon race. The human race fell into an extremely unfavorable situation. At the same time, the Yuanying's engine of the human race and the Yuanying Yao Huang of the demon race fought together at the front line. The two sides fought bloody together and went out of control. They no longer paid attention to any rules, morality, or principles, and killed the enemy at all costs. When there are no rules in war and the goal is to kill the enemy, the war will also go out of control. Listening to Kinglian Zenjin's description of the situation, Xuanji felt danger, uneasiness, and a hint of fear. The state of Chu might fall. Once the state of Chu falls, the Yi family will also suffer a catastrophe. Even he might perish. What is the situation on the front line now? Xuanji asked, as if he felt that the question was not accurate enough, and asked, how are those gods of transformation winning or losing? The 3 gods of the human race and the 8 gods of the demon race. Can't the human race beat them? I don't know. True Lord King Lian said, these news were all sent by True Lord Fiao and others. As for the authenticity of the news, it is impossible to verify, and as for where the battle is, it is also unknown. As for where Dangji Xianzhen is trapped, it is also unknown. These are all unknown. What is known is that the gods of transformation are fighting. So, under the orders of both sides, True Lord Yuanying also started a war, and now the battle outside is in chaos. As for where the gods of transformation are fighting, and what the situation is, it is also unknown. Many True Lords activated their secret techniques to contact the gods of the human race, but they could not get in touch. Xuanji said, the human race has 3 incarnations, and the demon race has 8 incarnations. If a demon incarnation leaves the battlefield and besieges a state of Chu, can the strong men of the state of Chu resist the incarnation? No. King Dian Zhenjin said, in the way of cultivating immortals, the gap becomes greater as you advance in the later stages. There have been cases where the peak of the golden core defeated the early stage of the nascent soul, but there has never been a case where the peak of the nascent soul defeated the early stage of the god of transformation, not even one. There are more than 100 nascent souls engines in the state of Chu, but even if they join forces, they cannot beat a god of transformation cultivator. The gap between them is like the gap between 100 sheep and a tiger. No matter how many sheep there are, they cannot beat a tiger. Only a tiger can defeat a tiger, only a god of transformation can defeat a god of transformation. Xuanji worriedly said, if a god of transformation returns from the demon race. No. King Lian Zhenjin smiled and said, in the eyes of a god of transformation cultivator, is power over the world more important, or is immortality more important? Immortality is more important. Xuanji said. King Lian Zhenjin said, we cultivators seek immortality. As for the so-called power, racial hatred and so on, they are not important. Dangji Xianzhen once had the 9th level of the god of transformation, and could easily destroy the 8 gods of transformation of the demon race, but he gave up. There are mainly 2 reasons. The first is that Dangji Xianzhen can certainly kill the gods of transformation of the demon race when he takes action, but when the gods of transformation counterattack before death, he will also be seriously injured, shortening his lifespan and damaging his origin. It can be said that the gain does not outweigh the loss. Second, conquering the 100,000 mountains will bring little benefit to Dangji Xianzhen, but a lot of trouble. One is not worth it, and the other is not worth it. Generally speaking, whether it is the gods of the human race or the gods of the demon race, they rarely fight for territory, let alone for power. The only thing that can cause a fight is some opportunities for transformation. That secret realm is very important. There is a big secret, which can actually lead to a war of transformation. Sorting out the intelligence, analyzing the character of the gods, True Lord King Lian speculated on the behavior of those heavenly lords. Gradually, he came to a conclusion that a secret realm appeared. There were some treasures in that secret realm, which were also very beneficial to the gods, so the 2 sides started fighting. As for the gods starting a war, it can only be said that they are thinking too much to fight for territory, to occupy the state of Chu, and for the interests of the demon race. Those gods have long lifespans, and have experienced many ups and downs. Because of certain territories, verbal disputes, power, etc., it is not worth fighting for them at all. Only some treasures that improve their cultivation, or some opportunities, are worth their desperate fight. So, the 3 gods of the human race and the 8 gods of the demon race fought bloody battles for opportunities. As for a certain god of transformation leaving the battle, coming to eliminate the human race's Yuanying cultivators, and occupy the territory of the state of Chu, it would not happen at all, and it was impossible. Those gods of transformation would not throw away sesame seeds and abandon watermelons. In other words, we are safe. Xuanji pondered. Those gods of transformation fought for some opportunities in that secret realm. At least we are safe before those disputes are over. But if the human race loses the upper hand in the battle for the secret realm, or even all of them are wiped out, we must be prepared to escape. That's right. King Dian Zhenjin said, if too many human race gods perish in the battle for the secret realm, and the Chu kingdom falls, we must prepare to evacuate in time, and take some of the family's elite to evacuate. Not long ago, I arranged for some monks to evacuate to Wu, Yu, the East China Sea, and other locations. Prepare the retreat in advance, so that there will be more retreats. Chapter 442, Battle on the Front Line. True Lord Kinglian spoke, talking about the news of the 8 great gods of the demon race, and the 5 great gods of the Chu state. The 5 gods of the Chu state, the 8 gods of the demon race, and the demon lord of the Yu state, etc. They seem to have different positions and statuses, but they are essentially similar. They are all sophisticated egoists. When doing things, they first consider themselves, then consider how much benefit they can bring to themselves, and then think about other things, etc. The so-called human and demon cannot coexist. Fight for the human race, kill demons and demons. Fight for the people, protect all living things, protect humans, fight for justice, etc. The slogans of the hot-blooded people will only fool the lower level cultivators, but they themselves do not believe it at all. Only if there are enough benefits can the gods take action. If there are no benefits, it will be a lot of work, and the gods will not bother to do it. Recalling this information, and analyzing the information of the gods again, Xuanji vaguely understood a lot of things. True Lord Kinglian said, "Get ready, we will set off again in half a day." With that, True Lord Kinglian disappeared. Go to Xiang Mountain, and prepare to go. Go to deal with some things, and prepare for the upcoming war. Xuanji flashed and arrived at the square, and rang the bell. The bell rang continuously for 9 times. Soon, many cultivators gathered together. Those cultivators who were in retreat also appeared one after another without any delay. The bell rang 9 times, which means that the family is facing a catastrophe. It must not be postponed or delayed by any means. Just 1 hour later, about 100,000 cultivators of the Lu family gathered on the square. The largest number of people were low-level key training cultivators and foundation building cultivators. As for Purple Mansion cultivators, Golden Elixir cultivators, etc., there were very few. Looking at the people present, Xuanji wanted to say something, but fell silent. If the Chu state really encountered destruction, he could only take away a few cultivators, less than 1,000 people, and most of the cultivators would be abandoned and become blood food for the monsters. Similarly, there were about 3 billion mortals in the Lu family's jurisdiction, and they would also become blood food for the monsters and suffer a mass extinction. The war between the human race and the demon race was very cruel. The loser would not even have the possibility of becoming a slave. After all, slaves would turn against their masters. The so-called oaths, forbidden laws, etc., can also be cracked, and there are loopholes to exploit. It is best to kill all the enemies, cut the grass and root them out, and no hidden dangers will be left. In the long history of the Purple Mansion realm, many powerful races have encountered the danger of genocide after weakening, and even the human race has encountered the danger of genocide several times. Soon, the Chu state will fight a war with the demon race. The scale of this war is unprecedentedly huge. Now I will arrange the tasks. Xuanji said. Grand Elder, you are responsible for sitting in the ancestral land of the Lu family. There is a solid formation here, which is enough to prevent the attack of multiple Yuanying cultivators. Lu Zion, you open the inner treasury, open the secret treasury, etc. Distribute elixirs, magic weapons, etc. and the whole family will enter a state of war readiness. Lu Fan, you are responsible for collecting certain resources, collecting a lot of information, and starting the emergency evacuation of some irrelevant personnel. He arranged the family tasks and the layout for the next 100 years. There was no discussion, only orders. As the tasks were arranged one after another, the monks present received the orders and left one after another. Grand Elder, the front line is too dangerous. You and Zion should guard at home. With the family's formation, it is enough to resist the attack of 10 Yuanying monks. Xuanji said. Xuanji, you have to be careful, said the Great Elder. I will be careful, said Xuanji. Half a day later, Xuanji, Kinglian Zhenjin, Ningzu and others all left the Lu family and went to the battlefield on the front line. Looking at the people going away, the Great Elder looked solemn and a trace of worry flashed across his face. Hundreds of years ago, the Purple Mansion monk of the Lu family sat in meditation, and then the old ancestor Yanayang attacked. All the masters of the Lu family fell, and they almost suffered a catastrophe. Not long after, they encountered other immortal cultivation families, and fell into danger. Fortunately, Lu Xuanji rose up, and with Xiao's engine as a backer, he rose step by step. It seemed that the crisis of extinction was far away from the Lu family, but with this national war, the situation deteriorated again, and the Chu state might fall. When the nest is overturned, no egg is left intact, and the Lu family might also be destroyed. It's a pity that I'm only a 6th level Jiandan, not a Yuanying cultivator, and I don't even have the qualifications to participate in the war. The elder sighed in his heart. In such a war, Yuanying cultivators may also fall. As for Jiandan cultivators like him, it is normal to fall on the front line. Leaving him to guard the houses for his own good. But the elder felt a little ashamed. Activating the escape light, Lu Xuanji went to the front line. After walking for a day, a huge city appeared, standing there like a giant. It came to Teeling Pass again. But, just as it was approaching, a series of divine thoughts scanned in the void. After confirming the information, a crack appeared in the formation in the city, and Lu Xuanji and others immediately entered it. After entering the city, Lu Xuanji found that the cultivators here were mainly from the Lu and Yi families, as well as some cultivators from the Danliang sect. Many of them were very familiar to him. At this moment, a divine thought came. Lu Xuanji nodded and moved in a certain direction. After a while, he entered the hall and saw Xiao's engine. Lu Xuanji asked, "How is the situation? How is the war on the front line?" Jinzi said, "The situation on the front line is relatively stable, but there are already signs before the war. Not long ago, 3 Yuanying's engine have died. Both sides are trying hard to restrain themselves, but gradually they are getting angry. Some of them cannot control the situation enough, and the situation is getting out of control. A war may break out at any time. The war has not broken out yet, it's just that the monsters are still looking for the flaws of the human race, and waiting for the opportunity." Lu Xuanji asked, "How is the layout of the front line? How do you plan to fight? The territory of Chu is too large. If you defend everywhere, it means losing everywhere. Therefore, we will focus on setting up 18 cities for key defense. As long as these 18 cities are not breached, the main force of the monsters will not be able to invade Chu on a large scale, and the situation can be maintained." Jinzi said, "According to my cultivation level, I will be responsible for garrisoning here, and fighting against the monsters on the opposite side." As he spoke, Jinzi spoke, talking about the troop deployment of Teeling Pass, the power of the monsters on the opposite side, and the enemies that might be faced. In the battle, we cannot show too weak, because if we are too weak, a large number of monsters will rush over and strangle us. But we cannot show too strong, because if we are too strong, it will also attract the attention of the monsters and they will focus their fire on us. In this process, we must grasp a balance. Chapter 443, Attacking Qingxi Ridge, and breaking the formation with one sword. At this point, Jinzi said, "In this battle, I plan to take the initiative, to attack the Blue Lion territory, and kill the Old Lion." Lu Xuanji asked, "What are you going to do?" The Blue Lion territory is one of the big tribes of the demon race, where many demon beasts live. If you want to break through there, you need to mobilize a large number of troops. Once the troops are mobilized, it will inevitably alarm the demon tribe on the opposite side. At that time, the Blue Lion lineage can ask for help from the surrounding demon tribes, or run away, when the situation is not good. Jinzi said, "According to intelligence, there are 3 nascent soul cultivators, and about 30 golden core cultivators in the Green Lion territory. As for the Purple Mansion monsters and Foundation establishment monsters below, they are countless. This time, I will mobilize half of the Purple Mansion cultivators, the 7th level Golden Core cultivators, and at least 6 nascent soul cultivators, to attack together to kill them all. Once the Green Lion territory is destroyed, we will be much more relaxed, and we can even shock some monster kings. We must go all out in this battle." "Okay." Lu Xuanji nodded and said, "Withdrawing a large number of troops will inevitably cause Teeling Pass to be empty of troops. Once the monsters attack, if Teeling Pass is lost, it will be a big problem. Now that things have come to this, we can only take a gamble." Jinzi said, "If it is a passive defense, we will be in an extremely unfavorable situation. Instead of waiting to die and passively defending, it is better to take the initiative and turn passivity into initiative. As for the loss of Teeling Pass, will it be lost? What do you think of the situation now? What do you mean? Xuanji asked. In this battle, the human race was at a disadvantage from the beginning. The human race had more than 130 Yuanying true lords, but the demon race had more than 300 Yuanying cultivators, far more than the Yuanying cultivators of our Chu state. Many Yuanying true lords have already planned to flee in advance. If they were not reluctant to leave the Chu state's property and were afraid of the fight with Shenxianzhen, they would have fled long ago. Xuanji smiled bitterly and said, not only that, many of the human race true lords are secretly communicating with the demon race true lords and colluding with each other, which poses many hidden dangers. It is better to fight early than late. Xuanji nodded. There were some things he didn't understand very well, but he firmly supported Xuanji. The mobilization continued. In just 3 days, a large number of cultivators gathered together, boarded the flying boat and left quietly, heading towards the Xuan Mountains. In order to achieve this strategic intention, King Lian True Lord replaced Xuanji, walked in the city, and took a flying boat out of the city to fight with the demon race Yuanying. Buzz buzz buzz. In the low sky, a flying boat was moving forward. The flying boat was only 10 feet long, but the space inside seemed unprecedentedly huge and could accommodate more than 30,000 cultivators. The appearance of the flying boat was camouflaged, as if a kunpeng was moving forward. If you don't get close and check carefully, you won't find that this is a human flying boat, but will think that it is a demon beast kunpeng flying. Xuanji urged the kunpeng to move forward quickly, or 1,000 miles a day means 200,000 miles, and in just 3 days, it reached the Green Lion Ridge. The speed was so fast that it caught the enemy off guard. The Green Lion lineage is a vassal demon tribe of the Kunpeng clan. The strong men of the Kunpeng clan only need 3 hours to come to rescue. We must end the battle within an hour, or choose to evacuate after an hour. If the evacuation speed is a little slower, we may be besieged by the strong men of the demon clan and die here. After the call, Xuanji began to give orders. Zhenjin Bingpo, Zhenjin Ningsu, Zhenjin Haotu, the 3 of you must intercept the powerful demons thousands of miles away as a reserve team. The rest of you, follow me and break the formation. Kill. Xuanji arranged the characters. The 3 Zhenjin nodded, led some of the cultivators and disappeared, and hid in a certain mountain, intending to ambush the reinforcement of the Kunpeng tribe. At the same moment, under Xuanji's call, many human cultivators left the flying boat and arrived at the indicated location to wait. The human cultivators were dispatched and dispersed to various parts. They began to encircle Qingxi Ridge. At this moment, the demon cultivators in Qingxi Ridge discovered the situation and reported it to the police. The scattered demon cultivators began to gather together, and the formations began to operate one by one, like a hedgehog spreading its spikes, forming a powerful defense against the invading cultivators. One formation after another, countless formation groups combined together, countless formation groups were stimulated, like a huge reef. At the same time, the news spread that they were asking for help from the Kunpeng clan. The battle was about to break out, and it seemed that they were going to fight to the death. The Green Lion Ridge has a huge array of formations. These arrays can withstand the continuous attacks of more than a dozen Yuanying cultivators for 3 days and 3 nights before they can break the array. Xuanji said, if there are no accidents, the array alone can withstand our attack. Let our attack become futile. In the mortal world, a solid city has more than 3,000 soldiers defending it. If there is enough food and grass, it can resist the attack of tens of thousands of soldiers. Many sacred mountains have many arrays. Just a few giant cultivators can resist the attack of more than a dozen Yuanying cultivators. The Green Lion Ridge in front of us is also easy to defend and difficult to attack. Give me 10 minutes. Xuanji said. Okay. Xuanji said. Xuanji took a deep breath and activated his magic power. Immediately, the yin and yang energies on his palms were flowing. The power of the 5 element was condensing. The power of the magnetism was gathering. The power of the starlight was fluctuating. The power of time and space was condensing. And the power of extinction was condensing. In the end, it turned into a 9-color divine sword. Many magic powers were gathering and gathering on his palms. The power of the long sword was accumulating and increasing. The 5th level of the nascent soul, the 6th level of the nascent soul, and the 9th level of the nascent soul. Then, he entered the realm of half-step transformation. At this moment, Xuanji's magic power had been exhausted. Not enough, still not enough, still not enough. Withered and flourishing divine will, extract. At this moment, Xuanji continued to activate, withered and flourishing divine will, and suddenly all the grass and tree energy within a radius of 1,000 miles was absorbed and converted into magic power, which was continuously infused into the long sword. It was constantly accumulating, and the power was increasing. But the corresponding control power was also decreasing, as if it was about to lose control and explode at any time. But 10 minutes later, the power of this knife continued to rise, reaching a level comparable to that of a god. Xuanji was also shocked when he saw this scene. This knife has a lot of shortcomings. First, it takes 10 minutes to accumulate energy, but at the moment of confrontation, the enemy will not give him 10 minutes to accumulate energy. Second, this knife is indeed powerful, comparable to a god's attack. However, the huge power comes at the expense of speed and agility. This knife is too slow and can't hit the enemy at all. But if it is used to hit a fixed target, it will have an amazing effect. Swish. At this moment, Xuanji slashed out with a knife, like a ray of light slashing at the formation group. Boom boom boom. The formation group shattered, and with the shattering of the formation group, Qingxi Ridge was split into 2 parts, and a huge valley appeared in the middle. At the same time, Xuanji's body softened, his mana was completely exhausted, and his spirit was also exhausted. Chapter 444, Breaking Through the Green Lion Ridge. In the Green Lion Ridge, one after another, the arrays were activated. As the arrays were activated, the white light films rose up like waves. As the defensive arrays rose, the Green Lion Ridge seemed to turn into a huge turtle shell, towering in front of the enemy. In the central hall, the middle-aged man looked solemn, looking at the human army outside, with a trace of worry. The war between the human race and the demon race is almost a disaster for some small families and forces. Countless families will be destroyed and perish, but for some small tribes of the demon race, it is also a disaster. It is easy to be affected and destroyed in the battle. If the Green Lion lineage is severely damaged in the war with the human race, other demons will not lend a helping hand, but will add insult to injury, take the opportunity to occupy the territory of the Green Lion lineage, plunder some resources, and even take the opportunity to destroy the Green Lion lineage. Father, we have activated the formation. Such a formation consumes a huge amount of spiritual energy, but it is also long-lasting and strong. Such a defense can last for a year. Even if there are 18 Yuaning's engines outside joining forces to attack, they will not be able to break through the formation group. At this moment, a handsome young man spoke. Not long ago, we asked for help from the Kunpeng lineage. It will only take 3 hours for the strong men of the Kunpeng lineage to come to rescue. By then, we can work together inside and outside to annihilate this invading human cultivator. 3 hours? Impossible. The middle-aged man said, the Kunpeng clan will not come too early. The reinforcement will not arrive here until at least 6 hours later. Because it is not in the interest of the Kunpeng clan to take action too early to rescue us. The Kunpeng clan needs a vassal race that cannot be too powerful. Too powerful will threaten the Kunpeng clan, and it is best to be relatively weak. And the Qingxi clan has 5 Yuanings, which is still somewhat powerful for the Kunpeng lineage. The rescue of the Kunpeng lineage will come, but it will not be too early. It is best to come from the severely damaged Qingxi lineage, which is in the interest of the Kunpeng lineage. Father, the handsome boy was about to say something, but in an instant, the middle-aged man's heart was trembling, and his heart was warning that there was a great danger coming. It seems that a great destruction is coming. Not good. The human race came prepared this time, and they must use a powerful weapon. It may be possible to break through the defense of our formation in a very short time. Prepare to activate the backup formation, and prepare to activate the emergency plan. The middle-aged man said, suppressing the terror in his heart, and admonishing his son. Father, what's going on? The handsome boy asked. Don't ask too much, I won't explain too much, it's too late. The middle-aged man said, if things get to the worst, remember to take a large number of elites of the Qingxi lineage to escape. If you escape by chance, don't go to the Kunpen clan, but go to the Phoenix clan, the enemy of the Kunpen clan. The handsome boy was about to ask something, but he saw his father's cold eyes. His father would not explain anything, he just needed to do it. With his footsteps flashing, the handsome boy left. He was still wondering how Qingxi Ridge would fall. There is a strict formation group here, and many formations are superimposed. If there is a top formation master who breaks the formation one by one, it can break the formation, but it will take a long time, and it will not be broken without 3 to 5 or 3 months. If there are more than a dozen Yuaning's engines working together, constantly bombarding the formation and violently breaking it, and there are formation masters pointing out the flaws, it can also speed up the efficiency of breaking the flaws, but it will also take some time. Could it be that they are going to use some 5th grade peak breaking formation shuttles, or quasi 6th grade breaking formation beads? The handsome young man said anxiously, but is it worth using such a trump card for a mere Qingxi Ridge? Why use a butcher knife to kill a chicken? The 5th grade peak breaking formation shuttle, and the quasi 6th grade breaking formation beads are all disposable magic weapons, all of which are expensive, and are enough to attack the territory of the Kunpen clan. Is it worth using such a trump card for a mere Qingxi Ridge? It feels not worth it. But the anxiety is getting worse. At this moment, the handsome young man felt an inexplicable danger. Looking into the distance, a light appeared in the void, a gorgeous light. Then, it bombarded Qingxi Ridge. Suddenly, the formation that Qingxi Ridge was proud of, the solid defense formation, collapsed and disintegrated in an instant. It was like a kitchen knife chopping on paper. In just a moment, the formation was shattered. The Qingxi Ridge was split open, and a huge valley appeared. The demons along the way, whether they were Purple Mansion or Golden Elixir, were killed instantly. Nobody was left. After the light reached them, not to mention the bodies and bones, they were directly beaten into particles, and turned into ashes and dissipated. Run, run. In a moment, the handsome man did not look back, took some treasures, elite demon disciples, etc., and went to the back mountain to escape. He did not look back, and did not dare to look back, because he knew that when the light appeared and tore the formation group of Qingxi Ridge, the Qingxi Ridge lineage was completely finished. He went back to fight, but it was useless, and he would just be sending his head. It would be better to evacuate without even looking back. For the Qingxi Ridge lineage, keep a little fire and a little hope. Collapsed on the ground. Xuanji felt sore and weak all over. His mana was being depleted, his blood was being depleted, and he had no more strength. The moment he chopped the sword, it was comparable to a casual blow from a cultivator who had reached the state of transformation. But that sword drained all his strength. With that sword, his mana was exhausted. Whoosh! Xuanji took a deep breath and activated his divine will. He had to use the divine will of withering and flourishing to absorb the vitality of plants and transform it into mana. But at this moment, his head ached, and the divine will dissipated under the severe pain. Whoosh! Xuanji took a deep breath, and a flash of enlightenment flashed in his eyes. Divine will comes from the power of the soul. To activate the divine will, you need to consume mental power. Just now, my mental power was exhausted, and I could no longer activate the divine will. Xuanji pondered. The state of transformation is also known as the state of primordial spirit, because at this state, one will focus on tempering the soul and improving mental power. When the mental power is strong to a certain extent and the comprehension is outstanding, there is a certain probability of comprehending the divine will. In addition, there are a few cultivators who are born with strong spiritual power and outstanding comprehension. There is a certain probability that they will comprehend the divine will in the nascent soul realm. However, when a nascent soul cultivator activates the divine will, it is like a child swinging a sledgehammer. Not only is the power limited, but it is also not durable. At his current realm, he can activate the withering and flourishing divine will at most 3 times before his spiritual power is exhausted. Kill. At this moment, the formation was broken. Under Jinzi's call, he led the human cultivators to kill the immortals in Qingxi Ridge. Kill the chicken to scare the monkey. This time, Qingxi Ridge must be destroyed to deter the Kunpen clan. Chapter 445, Sealing the Green Lion Ancestor. Boom boom boom. With an order, the human army began to attack King Xiling. After losing the protection of the formation, it was like a tortoise with its shell broken, and the meat inside could be tasted to one's heart's content. Many cultivators of the human race, in groups of 3 or 5, came from all directions, to encircle and suppress the King Xiling lineage completely. The mighty crowd seemed to be flooding everything. But, at this moment, a breath of destruction rose up, and 5 terrifying auras emanated from King Xiling, suppressing everything. Then, more than 20 golden elixir auras also spread. Looking at this scene, Jinzi's face changed slightly. A big change has occurred in King Xiling. The number of golden elixir demon cultivators is not much different, but the number of Yuanying demons is not 3, but 5. There is an error in the intelligence. But the war has come to this point. Even if the intelligence is wrong, we have to bite the bullet and fight on. At the same time, we are summoning Bingpo's engine to return to resist the Yuanying demon. Swish. Jinzi's footsteps flashed, and the 2-element sword in his hand fluctuated and changed. The black and white key circulated, and the 2 key of life and death circulated. The 2 terrifying forces blended together, and the cultivation of the 6th level of the nascent soul burst out, and attacked the strongest person in Qingxi Ridge. The old demon clan man roared, and his body changed dramatically, from human form to demon form. His breath was rising step by step, and the airflow of destruction was constantly condensing. The cultivation of the 5th level of the nascent soul burst out. A golden long sword flashed in the void, and it turned into a destructive light in a buzzing sound and killed it. Bang bang. The long sword and the flying sword collided with each other. Violent sparks were surging, and the airflow of destruction was tearing, and waves swept in one after another. Both sides were changing their bodies. Jinzi shouted, and lightning was condensing on his palm. The yin and yang key collided in the void, and a huge thunderball condensed, and turned into the bombardment of the 2-element divine thunder. The ancestor of the Qingxi roared, and a golden shield appeared in front of him to resist. The 2-element divine thunder bombarded the shield, and the shield was shaking violently. The destructive force attacked the body of the green lion ancestor. Puff. The green lion ancestor spat out a mouthful of blood, and despair flashed in his eyes. At this moment, a long sword slashed at his head. The green lion ancestor's body was moving, but he was still slashed on the shoulder, and a bloody wound appeared on his shoulder. He circulated the skills and immediately healed his injuries. Jinzi's footsteps flashed, and the 2-element divine sword attacked and killed. The 2-element divine thunder destroyed everything. Not only was the realm high, but the magical power was also high. Soon, the green lion ancestor was beaten. In the battle, the green lion ancestor fell into a disadvantage. The wounds on his body were increasing, and the mana was depleted. But it is easy to defeat, but it is difficult to kill. At the nascent soul realm, who is not a peerless genius, who is not a peerless evildoer, who has not experienced cross-level battles, whether it is aptitude, understanding, opportunity, or state of mind, they are all first class. Jinzi was only in the upper hand, but it was impossible to kill him in a short time. Jinzi activated his ki in blood, and his secret technique burst out, and he began to burn his ki in blood. His strength was rapidly increasing, and he attacked the blue lion ancestor. The blue lion ancestor also burst out his secret technique and fought desperately. Up to now, he had tried to escape many times, but was blocked by Jinzi, and could not escape at all. Since he could not escape, he would fight to the end. It could contain Jinzi and increase the chances for the lower level cultivators to escape. On other battlefields, the human Yuanying cultivators and the blue lion Yuanying cultivators also clashed fiercely. Each had its own strengths and weaknesses, but it was difficult to tell the winner for a while. At the same time, the Jiandan cultivators also fought together. This time, there were more than 50 human cultivators attacking, twice the number of the Blue Lion Ridge, and they formed a formation to strangle him. The Blue Lion Jiandan cultivators were killed one after another, and they were extremely miserable. Fight. At the critical moment, a Blue Lion Jiandan was angry, and activated the secret technique to self-destruct. Boom boom boom. The violent explosion swept everything. 3 human Jiandan were affected, 2 were killed on the spot, and 1 was seriously injured. Similarly, 3 Qingxi clan Jiandan were also killed. With the explosion, The situation fell into chaos. Run. The remaining 10 Qingxi clan Jianden looked at each other and fled in different directions. The human Jianden also chased after them. Both sides were killing, and the battlefield was constantly moving to the periphery. On the battlefield of the Purple Mansion cultivators, it was a one-sided situation. The human race mobilized more than 8,000 Purple Mansion cultivators, and the attack was like a tide. The Purple Mansion cultivators of Qingxi Ridge, however, were less than 1,000. The beginning was a one-sided massacre. Some of the human race's Purple Mansion cultivators even urged their magic weapons to attack the Purple Foundation building monsters, key refining monsters, etc., and launched a massacre. The Purple Mansion cultivators went to attack some of the monster clan's juniors, some miscellaneous soldiers, and some of them did not follow martial ethics. But now, they can't care so much. In order to launch a surprise attack, the lowest level of cultivation and the largest number of people on the Kunpeng were the Purple Mansion monks, with more than 8,000 people. Under the summons of some Purple Mansion monks in Qingxiling, the Purple Mansion big monsters were the generals, the Foundation building monsters were the team leaders, and the key refining monsters also formed an army formation, relying on the number of people to fight with the Purple Mansion monks of the human race. After the initial panic, Qingxiling gradually gained a local advantage with the help of the formation. Qingxiling has 15 million key refining monsters, 100,000 foundation building monsters, and more than 1,000 Purple Mansion monsters. Compared with the 8,000 Purple Mansion monks of the human race, it has a numerical advantage. Boom boom boom. The two sides fell into a stalemate and killing. The confrontation continued, and soon the battle lasted for an hour. The monsters suffered a large number of casualties, and the human race also suffered casualties. Whoosh. In a corner on the periphery, Xuanji opened his eyes. He circulated his mana and his mana returned to its peak. He circulated his mental power and also returned to its peak. After an hour of recuperation, the damage caused by Xuanji's slash, the depleted mental power, the depleted mana, etc., were also restored to their peak. It's time to end. Xuanji looked at a certain position on the battlefield. Swish. The long sword in his hand flashed, and the power of the 5-element flowed on the sword light, and the yin and yang energy was born and destroyed, slashing towards the Green Lion ancestor. The Green Lion ancestor was unable to dodge, and his body was immediately split in two. But in the next moment, the broken body condensed together again, and became a whole. The vitality of the nascent soul cultivator is strong, and ordinary damage is of limited threat to him. At this moment, Xuanji stepped forward and slashed. The Green Lion ancestor dodged, but in the next moment, he was greeted by another sword light. Boom boom boom. Xuanji and Xuanji joined forces and besieged the Green Lion ancestor. The Green Lion ancestor shouted ferociously, "This pair of dogs and bitches have no martial ethics. One can't beat one alone, let alone two." The Green Lion patriarch kept moving his body, trying to break through, but was intercepted many times. After fighting for a long time, Xuanji activated the lonely boat and straw hat picture and instantly rolled it into the magic weapon. Boom boom boom. The Green Lion patriarch continued to counterattack, constantly tearing the magic weapon apart, and was about to escape from the scroll. He activated the magic weapon to set a seal, and only then could he barely maintain the situation of the clan. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 446, Distributing the Spoils. Boom boom boom. The impact continued, and the Green Lion patriarch was still struggling fiercely. At this moment, the picture of the solitary boat and the straw hat seemed to have tied up a dragon, and the dragon could escape at any time. This fierce force and overbearing means made him terrified. The first level of the nascent soul is the nascent soul cultivator, and the fifth level of the nascent soul is the nascent soul cultivator. But can they be the same? They are not at the same level at all. After the picture of the solitary boat and the straw hat trapped the old lion, this magic weapon could not be used. The two looked at each other. They continued to attack other cultivators in the Green Lion Ridge, and they were ruthless, bullying the few with the many, and bullying the small with the big, without any martial ethics. After a fierce battle, the remaining 4 nascent souls were all suppressed. Everyone was panting, and some were exhausted. But there was no time to breathe, and they started to attack the Giant cultivators, the Purple Mansion cultivators, the Foundation Establishment cultivators, etc., and defeated them like a rotten wood. The formation formed by hundreds of thousands of demon cultivators was broken by the attack of the Yuan cultivators after 5 consecutive attacks. Then, groups of demons were slaughtered. Qingxi Ridge was collapsing, and a large number of demon cultivators were defeated and fleeing. The human cultivators stepped up their efforts to hunt and kill, and annihilate the remnants of the demons. The lower level key training cultivators were all killed, because their cultivation was too low and their running speed was too slow. The high level giant and cultivators were also the focus of attention, because their targets were too obvious, and they were also the focus of killing. Only the foundation building cultivators, Purple Mansion cultivators, etc., because there were too many of them, too many people, too scattered, and had a certain ability to save their lives, could only escape. After half an hour, the ground was full of scattered corpses. In this battle, the 5 Yuan of Qingxi Ridge were all killed, 15 Giant were killed, and only 3 Giant monsters escaped. As for the foundation building monster beasts, Purple Mansion monster beasts, etc., there were countless. In this battle, Qingxi Ridge was completely destroyed. Even if the remnants escaped, they could not regroup, and this lineage was completely crippled. Coupled with the infighting nature of the demon clan, Qingxi Ridge will soon be completely divided up by other demon clans. In this battle, 6 Yuan of the human race were also seriously injured one after another. 5 Giant monks died, and 8 Giant monks were seriously injured. As for the death of Zifu monks, there were as many as 500 people. However, compared with the victory of this battle, this loss is nothing. Under the leadership of Xuanji, everyone began to plunder treasures, nearby spiritual medicines, spiritual mines, etc., and later took the spoils and entered the Kunpeng and disappeared. About 5 hours later, the reinforcement of the Kunpeng clan arrived, but they saw devastation and corpses everywhere. Seeing the ruined battlefield after the tragic battle, the rescued Kunpengs shouted that they wanted revenge and wanted to kill the human race to avenge them. Later, the Kunpengs chased them away, but halfway through the pursuit, they subconsciously slowed down, fearing that they would be ambushed by the human race and their bodies would be gone. About 3 days later, Kunpeng returned to Teeling Pass. When they entered the city, everyone cheered, with indescribable joy on their faces. Finally back. Some were fortunate, and even more inexplicably happy. In a war, there is life and death, and there is life and death. Before this attack, everyone was worried and uneasy, worried about being ambushed halfway, worried about being besieged by the monsters, worried about being blocked by the enemy at the moment of retreat, worried about this and that. As long as the war starts, any accident may happen. But now that they are back, these worries and anxieties have disappeared. Now everything is safe. After returning to the city, only the next day, Xuanji began to distribute the spoils. First, for those Chindan who died in the battle, the focus was on their families, and 3 Chindans and 10 million Lingxi materials were given as compensation. The fallen Zifu monks were awarded with 3 Zifu Dan, and 1 million Lingxi material rewards. Then, the focus was on rewarding those meritorious soldiers. Killing a Chindan demon cultivator would be rewarded with a Chindan and 5 million spiritual stones. Killing a Zifu demon cultivator would be rewarded with a Zifu Dan and 1 million spiritual stones. Then, those monks who participated in the war were also given certain rewards. Finally, those monks who were responsible for defending the city and those who did not participate in the war were also given some rewards. As for the remaining resources and materials, they were all distributed by the Yuan monks. Whether it was the fallen monks or the meritorious monks, they were all rewarded with heavy money. As long as they dared to fight, they would be given to the soldiers. In addition, different rewards were given according to the amount of effort, the situation on the battlefield, etc. Xuanji's method was simple and violent, which was to keep spending money to satisfy most monks. And the rewards were never delayed. It only took 3 days. to distribute the rewards to the monks. Many monks were cheering and celebrating. At this moment, in the hall, many Yuanying monks gathered together. There are 13 Yuanying monks stationed at Teeling Pass, namely Jinzi, Qingdian, Lu Xuanji, Ningzhu, Yiwanyi, Longzuan, Xian Zhenjin, Haotu Zhenjin, Xianling Zhenjin, Mou Zhenjin, Hilong Zhenjin, Xingchen Zhenjin, Gai Zhenjin, etc. Those monks who participated in the attack on King Shiling are certainly outstanding, but the monks who guarded Teeling Pass and defended against the attack of the monsters also worked hard and made great contributions. On the table, there are 5 great spiritual fruits, 5 great spiritual treasures, rare materials, and some elixirs. These are all spoils of war, which are also of great benefit to Yuanying monks. Here, they will be distributed according to merit. Those who are capable will get more, and those who are not capable will get less. But at this moment, no one looked at these treasures, or these treasures were not important. Instead, he looked at a picture scroll. Haotu Zhenjin spoke first. Other treasures are not important, but how to refine the 5 Yuanying of King Shiling, and how to distribute the Yuanying pill afterwards? Yes, other things are not important. How to distribute the Yuanying pill. Mou Zhenjin also spoke. The others were silent, but their eyes were looking at Jinzi, waiting for her answer. Yuanying pill can improve the cultivation of Yuanying cultivators, with the best effect, and no side effects. Yuanying pill needs the Yuanying of cultivators as the main material to be refined. The material is hard to find. Whether it is the Yuanying of the righteous path, the Yuanying of the demon path, or the Yuanying of the demon clan, they are all high level and peak strongmen of various forces. Killing 1 or 2 is a big problem, and killing 3 or 5 will definitely attract the pursuit of the gods. No one will be crazy enough to hunt down Yuanying cultivators and refine Yuanying pills. Most Yuanying cultivators dare not. Even the gods do not dare. In the world of cultivation, the strong are respected, but it is not impossible and unrealistic for the strong to kill anyone they want to kill. Even if a powerful spirit transforming cultivator wants to kill a nascent soul cultivator, he has to make up excuses, or he can take the opportunity to hit him with a club or hunt him down in the wilderness. Spirit transforming cultivators also have to abide by the rules, otherwise they will be beaten up. Because society allows bad people to exist, but not mentally ill people. But now the chaos has come, order has collapsed, and everything is possible. If the 5 nascent souls of King Shiling are refined and turned into nascent soul pills, it will be a great tonic for them. Chapter 447 Refining the Nascent Soul Pill. Everyone looked at Jinzi, asking her for an answer. But Jinzi smiled, looked at Lu Xuanji and said, when it comes to alchemy, Xuanji's engine is the best. We have to rely on him for alchemy. Everyone nodded frequently. Xuanji's engine is well known for his alchemy skills. Some of the best purple mansion pills, best pure yang pills, best creation pills, best golden pills, etc. circulating in the market are made by him. Mou Zhenjin said, I have a recipe for Yuanying pills here, which can increase the pill yield rate. As he said that, he threw a jade slip. Lu Xuanji nodded, took the jade slip, and looked through the information, with a look of joy in his eyes. Yuanying pills cannot be refined. But different recipes have different effects. The recipe in front of him is quite perfect, and can greatly increase the pill yield rate, but it requires some 5th grade spiritual medicine as an auxiliary. Sure. Lu Xuanji said, it will take 10 years to refine the nascent soul and make the elixir. During these 10 years, the Kunpeng tribe will attack here. It's okay, it's just a small matter. Haotu Zhenjin said, no outsiders will interfere with you within 10 years. Lu Xuanji said, my cauldron was broken in a war not long ago. I need some materials, mainly Lihuojing and Zuanming iron. Xingchen Zhenjin said, I have Lihuojing. After hesitating for a moment, Xianling Zhenjin said, I have Zuanming iron. Everyone, just wait for 10 years. Lu Xuanji said, sure. Everyone nodded. Then, everyone put it on the table and began to distribute the spoils. In order. Take some spiritual medicines, elixirs, or other things, and compensate for the extra, and give spiritual stones, to compensate for the insufficient. The distribution was finished quickly. Everyone left. Lu Xuanji and Ningzu also entered the city and started their alchemy career in the special alchemy hall. Taking out the picture of a solitary boat and straw hat, 5 monks appeared on the scroll. They were struggling, resisting, and tearing the seal. Bags appeared one after another on it, and then bulged out again. In the scroll, the 5 Yuanying of the Green Lion clan were struggling and accumulating strength, as if they were about to break the seal in the next moment. Crash. Crash. At this moment, Lu Xuanji took out a broken magic weapon, which was the 24 treasures. The 24 magic weapons, including the Bushanding, the Swallowing Heavending, the Kan Kungurd, etc., were directly defeated and turned into fragments in the battle with the Black Python Demon Clan. After losing these magic weapons, his combat effectiveness dropped a lot. At this moment, Lu Xuanji took out some materials and urged the pure Yang True Fire to start repairing the damaged spiritual treasures. First, the Bushanding, followed by the Swallowing Heavending. Under the burning of the pure Yang True Fire, many materials melted and began to merge together, and the broken cauldron began to recover. 3 months later, the Bushanding was repaired. Then, the Swallowing Heavending was repaired. One by one, the magic weapons were repaired. About a year later, all the 24 treasures were restored, and their power was still increasing. The treasure light was flashing, and the spirituality inside was increasing. People have human calamities, and treasures have treasure calamities. Not long ago, the magic weapon was attacked by the divine thoughts of the god of transformation, and it was broken. This was a calamity, but in the shattering, it was also stained with a trace of the breath of the god of transformation. It was slowly transforming, and its spirituality was also increasing. Next, it was necessary to open the picture of the lonely boat and straw hat, but it seemed that it was not safe to be alone, so Ningzu was summoned. Under control, the Green Lion clan Yuanying was thrown into it. My child, you will not die well. I curse you, and you will never be able to recover. I curse you, and you will suffer a calamity in the future. I curse you. The Green Lion clan Yuanying cursed, but everything was useless. It was thrown into the heaven-swallowing cauldron. The pure Yang True Fire was burning and refining everything. The flames were sweeping and annihilating everything. The demon clan Yuanying continued to curse. Lu Xuanji didn't say anything, but increased the flame to refine. It was about 3 days later that the demon's nascent soul was killed. It turned into a pure green liquid, undulating in the cauldron. He opened the cauldron again and threw some medicinal materials into it. He adjusted the temperature of the flame and refined the medicinal materials. Gradually, the liquid medicine was born. Later, the liquid medicine was condensing and merging. Lu Xuanji controlled the flame and refined the elixir. The flame was changing, gradually changing from fierce martial fire to gentle fire. The temperature of the flame was decreasing, and the medicinal power was constantly merging. This process was extremely slow. About a year later, accompanied by a slight sound. Click. At this moment, the elixir furnace was opened. One after another, 3 nascent soul pills were refined this time. Looking at the pills, Lu Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief. Not bad. The efficiency is a bit poor, but after all, it is 3 pills. He waved his hand to take the pills and put them into the gourd. After a short rest, he threw another demon's nascent soul into the elixir furnace, but his realm was relatively high. After 10 days, he was completely killed. He threw in the medicinal materials again and began to refine the pills. After 2 years, the pills came out. This time, the speed was much slower, but 5 pills appeared. Then, he refined the pills again. This time, the speed was slowed down, but the pill yield rate was increasing. This also made the time for refining the pills increase. At the moment of 20 years, the pills were not finished. But with the appearance of some nascent soul pills, it also blocked the mouths of some cultivators, and they changed from complaining and doubting at the beginning to determination and laughter. But, activating the lonely boat raincoat picture, he was about to throw the blue lion ancestor into it. But at this moment, the blue lion ancestor activated the secret technique, avoided the intake of the big cauldron, and turned into a stream of light to escape. At this moment, Xuanji, who had been prepared, took action and waved his hand to punch. The body of the blue lion ancestor flew backwards and entered the big cauldron. Crack. The lid of the cauldron was closed, and the fire was burning. The blue lion ancestor was cursing. But the answer to him was the pure yang true fire. The green lion patriarch's cultivation was even stronger, and it was more difficult to kill him. The pure yang true fire was being refined, but there was no progress. After a long time, Ningzu took action, but it was still not enough. At this time, Jinzi, King Lion and others also joined in, and began to refine. It took 3 years of refining to completely refine the green lion patriarch. Whoosh! The fire was burning, and the medicinal materials were thrown into it. About 20 years later, the big cauldron opened, and 9 pills flew out. These 9 pills were round and smooth, with gold in the green, which looked sacred and extraordinary. It's finally over, Xuanji thought. In order to refine the nascent soul pill, he spent 40 years. The long-term alchemy had a great loss of mana, and even his spirit was a little sluggish. He even had a slight disgust for alchemy. How many pills have I refined over the years? Xuanji asked. The first furnace has 3 Yuanying pills, the second furnace has 5, the third furnace has 7, the fourth furnace has 8, and the fifth furnace has 9. Jinzi counted the number of pills and said happily, you have refined a total of 32 Yuanying pills. According to the distribution ratio, you will occupy 9 immediately. With the Yuanying pill, you can save a lot of time. Xuanji looked at the Yuanying pill, and his eyes flashed with joy. Now, he is at the 3rd level of Yuanying. It may take 200 years to enter the 4th level of Yuanying. But after taking the Yuanying pill and refining it, it may only take 20 years to enter the 4th level of Yuanying. As if thinking of something, Xuanji took out the Bushanding again, and began to purify the pill. There is a lot of pill poison in the Yuanying pill. After the cultivator takes it, it takes a lot of time to expel the pill poison. With the help of the Bushanding, the pill poison in the Yuanying pill can be cleared. The pill poison is gradually dissipating and reduced to a very low level. Chapter 448, Fighting on the Front Line, Brutal Bloody Battle. Gurgle. After taking the nascent soul pill, Xuanji refined the medicinal power, and the medicinal power slowly entered the nascent soul. The originally vague nascent soul gradually became real. The nascent soul grew a little bigger and gradually advanced to the middle stage of the 3rd level of the nascent soul. This speed was much faster than meditation and hard practice. Sensing the rapid improvement of his cultivation, Xuanji's mood fluctuated, and a faint excitement flashed across his mind. The nascent soul pill is worthy of being the top elixir of the magic path. This upgrade speed is fascinating. About 30 years later, the medicinal power of the nascent soul pill will be completely refined. When he walked out of the cave, he sensed that many nascent soul cultivators were in seclusion. After obtaining the nascent soul pill, they took the pill as soon as possible without delay. A few nascent soul cultivators, alert to the situation outside, also took the nascent soul pill. Boom boom boom. At this moment, there was a violent noise. The demon army was seen moving out, turning into a tide and sweeping in. At the same moment, the human cultivators also moved out, and the two sides were fighting bloody. Soldiers against soldiers, generals against generals. Key refining monks fought with key refining monks, foundation building monks fought with foundation building monks, and purple mansion monks fought with purple mansion monks. When both sides fought, they were very particular about the rules. There was no bullying of the weak by the strong, nor of the few by the many. This kind of competition was more of an aristocratic fight. There was no skill in this kind of fighting, only rigidity. In such a fight, the formation of Teeling Pass did not operate, because the constant operation of the formation consumes a lot of spiritual energy, and the formation can only fight together at the critical moment. Boom boom boom. At this moment, the fight ended. There were countless corpses of the monsters on the ground, and the human race also suffered heavy casualties, and gathered their troops back. At this moment, King Lian appeared. Where is Jinxi? Xuanji asked. Not long ago, she just took the Yuanying pill to improve her cultivation, said King Lian Zhenjin. Xuanji asked, aren't you going into seclusion to improve your cultivation? King Lian said, my original body was transformed from a 7th grade King Lian. Before reaching the peak of the refining void stage, there is no bottleneck at all. As long as I absorb enough spiritual energy, I can improve my cultivation at any time. The only one who restricts my cultivation is Xuanji. If Xuanji enters the 6th level of the nascent soul, I will also enter the 6th level of the nascent soul. If she enters the 7th level of the nascent soul, I will also enter the 7th level of the nascent soul. How is the battle going recently? Xuanji asked. The battle is very fierce, and cultivators are dying every day. True, Lord King Lian said. At the beginning, we joined forces to destroy King Shiling, which also angered the demon clan, especially the Kunpen clan, who were filled with anger and fury. Later, the Kunpen clan began to protect and united with the Qinglang lineage and the Suzaku lineage, which had about 30 Yuanying cultivators. Countless demon cultivators gathered under Teeling Pass, staring at them covetously, ready to exterminate everything. The situation is unprecedentedly critical, and the Kunpen clan is waiting for the opportunity. Over the years, they have continuously sent cultivators to attack, and there have been constant large and small battles, and a large number of cultivators die every day. At the same time, the demon clan organized some teams, and began to go deep into the heartland of the human race, causing massive destruction, attacking some sacred mountains, and killing some immortal cultivation families. In just 50 years, there were 3 Yuanying families, 8 Chindan families, and hundreds of Zifu families who suffered a devastating disaster, and no one survived. Xuanji listened with a trembling heart, which meant that the rear was not safe. True, Lord King Lian continued. The human race is also attacking likewise, clearing out the demon race teams, and successively killing several thousand purple mansion cultivators, 80 golden core cultivators, and 3 nascent soul cultivators. The cold numbers and cruel data revealed the brutality of the battle between the two sides. Xuanji said, if the demon clan team gathers together and attacks my Lu family, can the Lu family hold on? It's hard to say. It depends on how much the demon clan values it. King Dian Zhenjin said, there is no formation in the world that cannot be broken as long as you are not willing to pay the price. Just like the Teeling Pass now guarded by the demon clan seems to have 13 Yuanying cultivators, more than 200 Chindan cultivators, and more than 30,000 Zifu cultivators. As for the foundation building cultivators and key refining cultivators, there are countless of them. But as long as the demon clan is willing to take action, and willing to pay a huge price, the demon clan can still break through, but the price is a bit high, and the demon clan does not want to do it. Similarly, if the demon clan team wants to break through the Lu family, it is also possible. It depends on whether they are willing to pay the price. The answer is a bit cruel, but this is the truth. The demon clan has some trump cards. If used, it will cause heavy damage to the human cultivators. But the demon clan is worried about something, or the price is too high, so they are reluctant to do it. Similarly, if the demon clan team is willing to pay some price, they can also break through the Lu family, but the Lu family still exists now. This shows that in the eyes of some demon clan bigwigs, the Lu family is not ranked. Even if it is retaliated, it is not the Lu family's turn. In other words, from a strategic perspective, it is not meaningful to destroy the Lu family. It is tasteless to eat. This is the Lu family. King Dian Zhenjin said, I have sent cultivators to urgently evacuate some cultivators of the Lu family. The cultivators stationed in the Lu family are enough to resist the attacks of the demon clan strongmen. Of course, even if the Lu family is broken, the demon clan will gain very little, but it can effectively avoid some risks. It can only be like this. Xuanji nodded in his heart. Only a few high-level cultivators can be evacuated. As for ordinary people, key training cultivators, foundation building cultivators, etc., they have nowhere to go if they want to evacuate, and can only stay near the Lu family. They are the most likely to be affected and destroyed. With the war imminent, a large number of strong men were drawn to the front line to resist, resulting in an empty rear, and some immortal cultivation families were exterminated. But even so, they could only resist on the front line, and could not withdraw. In such a situation, the interests of the Lu family were not important. If the Lu family was destroyed, they could only rebuild the Lu family. Boom boom boom. At this moment, the demon clan was shouting and sending out 500 foundation building soldiers to stand in the front. The human race also responded and sent out 500 foundation building soldiers to the front. After greeting each other, the two sides fought bloody. The demon cultivators were falling, and the human cultivators were falling. After a long battle, only 10 human cultivators were alive. Amid the cheers of the crowd, these 10 human cultivators were welcomed back like heroes. Xuanji asked, "Is this how the battle is fought on the front line now?" "Yes." King Dian's engine said, "Now when both sides fight, they have agreed on a certain number of cultivators. They will fight together on the designated battlefield. The winner will return, and the losers will die. You can choose a single challenge or a group battle. A single challenge is a one-on-one fight between some geniuses. Group battles can be divided into a group battle of 5,000 key refining cultivators, a group battle of 500 foundation establishment cultivators, and a group battle of 50 purple mansion cultivators. In a group battle, there is no surrender, only the death of all enemies or the death of all of you." Chapter 449. The Demon Tribe Attacks. The Demon God Acts. There are two types of wars. One is a war without rules, and the other is a war with rules. A war without rules is to use the 36 stratagems, various tricks, massacre civilians, flood cities, launch nuclear bombs, bomb enemy dams, launch poison gas, etc., and use various means to kill the enemy. The purpose is to achieve military victory. Military victory is above all else. There is another type of war that requires rules. In the spring and autumn period, when two countries went to war, they had to agree on a location, a certain number of people, greet each other, and then fight each other. If the enemy was injured, they had to let the enemy go, and the captured elderly had to be released. If the enemy retreated and ran away, they could only symbolically pursue him for 50 steps, and then they had to stop pursuing him. In a recent war, carpet bombing was not allowed because it would hurt civilians. Urban civilian facilities were not allowed to be attacked, and water and electricity were not allowed to be cut off. Wars require rules because they can control the scale of war and prevent it from getting out of control. The purpose of such a war is not to win the war, but for political purposes, social influence, or certain economic interests. This is the difference between small people and big people. Small people only think about winning the war and work hard for the victory of the war and don't think about other things. But big people think about how much benefit, how much profit, and how much loss the war can bring. For the sake of profit, they will control the scale of the war, the intensity of the war, and the duration of the war. Even if losing the war can bring huge benefits, they are willing to lose the war. This is the difference in the pattern. Similarly, the number of unity of the demon race in the 100,000 mountains is far above that of the human race. If the demon race works together and unites as one, it will not be a problem to attack and destroy the state of Chu. But in the actual war situation, the demon race cannot unite as one. The interests and demands of each branch of the demon race are different. In the eyes of those big people, exterminating the human race and conquering the state of Chu are not the first priority. The interests of their own tribes and their own interests are the first priority. Just imagine that the attack on the state of Chu caused the demon race to be severely damaged, and then it was destroyed by the nearby demon race. It can be said that it is a big loss. Therefore, under the constraints of various rules, the two sides are constantly fighting, but each other is more particular about rules. There were often some big battles at Teeling Pass. These big battles were more like competitions and wars. The two sides agreed on a time, a battlefield, and a number of people, and then sent the corresponding monks to the outside of the city, and the two sides fought bloody battles. There were single duels and group bloody battles. In the battle, both sides were very particular about martial ethics. Such bloody battles were fought thousands of times, or even tens of thousands of times. In the bloody battles between the two sides, countless monks were killed, but some geniuses were rising. Standing on the city wall, after observing for a while, Xuanji disappeared. Returning to the cave, he continued to refine the nascent soul pill. As time passed, the battles at Teeling Pass continued, and the two sides were fighting and killing each other. After 10 years, ding ding ding. At this moment, the terrifying bell sounded, and there was a violent sound. The bell vibrated continuously, and there was a deafening sound. It rang 9 times in a row, and the sound was urgent. Xuanji had planned to continue his retreat, but when he heard the bell, he walked out of the cave in horror. Go to the main hall. One figure after another, the nascent soul cultivators who were in retreat gathered together, just for a quarter of an hour. There are also many golden core cultivators, and many of them gathered here, which can be said to be full of talents. Similarly, many formations are also opening at Teeling Pass, one after another, and about 1/3 of the formations are opened one after another. With the opening of 1/3 of the formations, the defense of Teeling Pass is increasing layer by layer, as if it has become a huge tortoise shell. At this moment, the defense is so strong that it can withstand the bombing of hundreds of nascent soul cultivators in turn. Even if the divine transformation cultivator takes action and forcibly attacks the formation of Teeling Pass, it will take an hour to tear the formation and break through the pass. Xuanji sat on the throne, sitting in the position of the top leader, and said, "Everyone, it's bad. Not long ago, Teeling Pass fell. In Teeling Pass, there were 20 Yuanian cultivators, 500 Chindan cultivators, more than 30,000 Zifu cultivators, and countless cultivators of other levels, but it still fell. Not long ago, the demon clan gathered 100 Yuanian cultivators, mobilized many cultivators, and used 5 5th grade formation breaking beads in succession to tear the formation apart, causing Teeling Pass to fall." Xuanji opened his mouth and talked about the battle report of Teeling Pass. The territory of Chu State is huge. In order to prevent the attack of the demon clan, 18 huge cities were set up at the junction, like nails, becoming the front line, to resist the demon clan. Ordinary key training monsters, foundation building monsters, Zifu monsters, etc. can directly cross the city defense and attack the hinterland of Chu State, forming beast tides again and again, bringing huge disasters to Chu State. As for Chindan cultivators, Yuanian cultivators dare not, and cannot attack the hinterland of Chu State, because this would lead to an ambush and group fight by the human race. On the border, the 18 cities serve as early warning and sieves, intercepting most of the demon race, so that the elite of the demon race would be afraid of danger, and dare not go deep into the hinterland of Chu. Only some low-level cultivators, some cannon fodder monsters, etc., would go to the hinterland of Chu to plunder and kill. Teeling Pass is one of the cities. The defense formation of Teeling Pass, and the suppression of many powerful people, failed. This news is somewhat shocking. "How dare they?" said Xuanji frowned. Boom boom boom. At this moment, the formation of Teeling Pass was bombarded. The power of destruction, wave after wave, began to attack the immortals here. "Everyone, return to your position, operate the formation, and prepare for a battle." Xuanji said, "If you don't want Teeling Pass to fall, and become the second big city slaughtered by the demon race, then fight to the death." As he said, Xuanji disappeared. The other nascent soul cultivators also disappeared. Xuanji also disappeared, went to a certain position, and began to operate the formation. There are more than 100,000 formations in Teeling Pass. The higher the cultivation level, the more formations one can control. Many cultivators control the formations separately, and as the formations operate, it is like a huge millstone operating. Xuanji looked intently, but he saw outside the city. The demons began to attack, and the intensity of the attack was increasing. Outside the city, more than 120 Yuanian cultivators gathered, and they joined forces to drive a big axe. On the big axe, there were dragons, demon gods, etc. engraved, with ferocious runes on it, and there was a murderous spirit surging in it. Demon god axe. Looking at this big axe, Xuanji's pupils shrank, and a trace of horror flashed in his eyes. The demon god axe is a 6th grade spiritual treasure with unparalleled power. Ordinary Yuanian cultivators have weak cultivation levels, and are naturally unable to drive this axe. But when 120 Yuanian big demons joined forces, this axe immediately burst into a destructive light. Buzz buzz buzz. The axe was getting bigger and bigger, and it was 100 feet long. With the sound of destruction, the axe hit the city wall. Chapter 450, 10 Years of Bloody War. Boom boom boom. The void was flashing, and the huge axe was dancing, turning into 100 feet in size, and a destructive light slashed towards Teeling Pass. Teeling Pass was shaking violently, and countless formations were broken. In just an instant, more than 1,000 formations were directly destroyed, and went directly to destruction. In these formations, many monks were severely injured or even died. What a powerful attack. At this moment, Xuanji felt his body shaking. Under the impact of the huge force, his body felt uncomfortable, as if he was seasick. His body was slightly numb. The demon god axe is a 6th grade spiritual treasure, one of the top magic weapons of the demon clan. Similarly, the picture of the lonely boat and the straw hat is also a 6th grade spiritual treasure, but this spiritual treasure is not only dead, but also damaged and incomplete, not as powerful as the 3rd level at its peak. But the demon god axe is in its prime. Not only does the spirit exist, but the formation is intact, and has a strong attack power. Unlike ordinary magic weapons, the demon god axe is known for its powerful attack power and heavy power. Another 130 nascent soul cultivators were urging their axe. Even the divine transformation cultivators could only avoid the attack. If they foolishly resisted, they would be injured or even bleed. Under this attack, more than 300 foundation building cultivators died. 15 purple mansion cultivators died, and countless cultivators were seriously or slightly injured. Boom boom boom. At this moment, the axe was retracted. Many nascent soul monsters gasped slightly, and after just 3 breaths, they urged the axe to attack again. Boom boom boom. Teeling Pass was shaking, and the formation was broken. At the same time, many formation masters walked around, and began to repair the broken formations. The axe kept bombarding and attacking, and countless formations were broken. At the same time, there were cultivators taking action to repair many formations. The two sides were in a stalemate, one attacking and the other defending. The casualties at Teeling Pass were increasing. Soon, giant and cultivators were killed, and then some nascent soul cultivators were seriously injured. After continuous bombardment, Teeling Pass was on the verge of collapse, and casualties were increasing. Every moment, there were cultivators who were seriously injured or even died. Not long ago, Xuanji sent a message to Danyang sect, Shanling sect, Chaosian sect and other sects for rescue. When those sects received the message, they replied, "You must hold on. Reinforcement will appear to attack other areas of the demon clan, focusing on attacking the key positions of the demon clan, making a feint to the east, and attacking the west. Thus, the pressure on Teeling Pass will be relieved." Only a few cultivators were on the way to rescue. But in order to prevent being attacked halfway, they also gathered from a distance and slowly approached. If they take action, they will not appear at Teeling Pass. Xuanji said, they are also afraid. They don't want to fight a decisive battle with the main force of the demon clan under Teeling Pass, but want to attack other areas of the demon clan. We have become bait or abandoned. There was bitterness in his words, and a hint of ridicule. Xuanji said, hold on. Yes, we can only hold on. Xuanji said. Now, if you want to surrender, or be a traitor, the demon clan will not accept it. Time is passing. In the blink of an eye, 10 years have passed. Teeling Pass is crumbling. More than 130 Yuanying of the demon race took action, continuously urging the big axe to bombard Teeling Pass, fiercely and domineeringly, and bombarded for 10 years. In the continuous battles, many Yuanying monks had to retreat and rest because of the exhaustion of mana. Under such continuous bombardment for 10 years, the demon race suffered huge losses, and they were attacked by the human race in the rear. Countless demons were slaughtered, countless cities fell, and countless mountains were lost. But the demon race's determination to fight remained unchanged, and they continued to bombard Teeling Pass. As for the losses in the rear, they didn't care at all. In 10 years, Teeling Pass experienced fierce battles, and countless formations were damaged. Half of the formations were already paralyzed. I don't know if the formation was seriously damaged, and a large number of monks were seriously injured. 13 Yuanying monks were all seriously injured, more or less. As for the fallen giant and monks, there were more than 100. There were thousands of fallen purple mansion monks. As for the seriously injured monks, they were too lazy to count. In the fierce battles for 10 consecutive years, the spiritual stones, elixirs, magic weapons, etc. that were lost were incalculable. Teeling Pass has persisted until now, and its combat effectiveness is constantly being consumed, and its war potential is constantly being exhausted. It is at the end of its life. It will take at most 5 years for Teeling Pass to fall. The situation is not good. It will fall in at most 5 years, or even less. Xuanji said uneasily in the hall. We can only hold on. Xuanji said, I think reinforcement will arrive soon. Reinforcement can't be counted on, Xuanji said, but he didn't have much hope for reinforcement. If the situation is critical, you must break out first. Alas. In the current situation, if you break out first, you may become a living target. Xuanji said. Xuanji wanted to say something, but was silent. Boom boom boom. At this moment, the formation was shaking. The demon clan was attacking again. The two said goodbye and went to their own formations and began to operate the formations to resist the attack of the demons. After 10 years of continuous bloody battles, the formation became riddled with holes, as if it was pieced together, and seemed to be about to break at any time. Outside Teeling Pass, the demons gathered together, but their faces were solemn, because the rear was unstable. Because a large number of troops were drawn and gathered at Teeling Pass, the troops in the rear were empty. A large number of elite demons began to attack the hinterland of the demons. The demons suffered heavy losses and the situation was critical. After 10 years of bloody battles, Teeling Pass could not hold on. But the demons also felt tired and could not hold on. Everyone. Just then, a man in black said, we have suffered heavy losses after 10 years of bloody battles. But according to the current situation, Teeling Pass can still hold on for 5 years, but I don't want to wait any longer. Today, we will break through Teeling Pass and kill people in the hinterland of Chu. I accept your orders. Many Yuanying demons spoke one after another. Some demon cultivators were unwilling, but they could only continue to endure. Not long ago, an Ascent Soul demon said something and was executed. The demon clan also began to become bloody. Blood sacrifice to the axe, the man in black said. Suddenly, one by one, the key refining demon beasts activated their secret arts, turned into blood mist and began to sacrifice blood to the axe. Groups of demon beasts sacrificed to the demon god axe. The axe, which was originally strange and evil, gradually emitted a bewitching blood red light. Then, a large number of foundation building demon beasts sacrificed blood to the axe. As if it was not enough, another 5,000 purple mansion demon beasts turned into blood mist and sacrificed blood to the axe. Then, more than 200 giant and cultivators consumed 1/3 of their own blood and began to sacrifice blood to the axe. The power of the axe was activated and seemed to be reaching its peak. Buzz buzz buzz. At this moment, 120 nascent soul demon cultivators activated their axes and turned into blood red light to bombard Teeling Pass. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.